GG's, motherfuckers. Let's get this down. Let's move this out the way. Let's see. I got my chats over here. Let's go put this on chat over here on YouTube. Let's do this over here. Create YouTube. Go to your channel. I should be here. Check 1 2 1 check 1 2 mic check mic check mic check. Check 1 2 1 check 1 2 mic check mic check mic check. All right, I sound good. Check 1 2 1 check 1 2 mic check. Perfect. I sound good. All right, I sound good. Let's go. Let's go see what the fuck is going on today. I have this. I'll just exit this. Let's go to twitchchannel.com. Make sure I got the right settings on there for finding what the fuck I'm trying to do today.
What? Are we going out the front door?
Let's go to dashboard, stream alert, manager, and it has Charlie Kirk Killer News. Let's just Charlie Kirk Killer News. Charlie Kirk News. Update. UFC fights Canelo versus Crawford. Nope. Youth debates. Politics. Politics and plus video game news. Video game. All right. Let's. Just chatting for right now. Let's keep that. Let's go to kick.com and let's get this
into them
shit going.
Mentality that they have. So I just it's a punishment.
Boom. Let's go to stream info. Pop out news. Edit. Boom. Let's go. Bam. All right. I should be good to go. Let's fucking start this stream. Let's go to YouTube. What's going on here? Let's see what Destiny's talking about.
Like, let's say that Hutch got, is he married? Let's say he got into a fight with his wife and he like shouted at her, and you know, like 10 people come out and they're like, Hutch, you raped and beat the shit out of your wife? And Hutch is like, whoa, geez, like, will you at least just like apologize for like how you treated her? Like, you're not gonna apologize. No, what the fuck? It's like, oh, so you didn't do anything wrong? How do you think the middle person is gonna look at this when you know, you did shout at her, right? And you're not even gonna apologize for it? Rapist, right? You're not even gonna apologize for it? The fuck is wrong with you, wife beater? You're not gonna apologize for being mean to your wife, rapist? It's like, well, Jesus Christ. Well, no, and that's the fucking accusation. What the, oh, okay. All right, rapist. So you're just gonna, you know, be a wife beater. Fine, cool. It's like, the fuck? No. Like, when the writer's accusing you of owning every single shooter, literally, what did Nancy Mace say? Before we knew anything at all about the shooter.
Here is Nancy Mace.
Not you. Christ, not you.
Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot and killed. In this country, we have the First Amendment. We have freedom to speak what's on our mind and shouldn't get shot because we believe in our system of democracy, conservative, liberal, whatever you are. You shouldn't be shot.
But isn't there a problem with political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now.
But isn't there a problem with political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
I know Charlie pretty well. Charlie, he's come to my district. We text and talk about policy. You know, he was ironically trying to engage, whatever you think of his views or my views, he was trying to engage in civil discourse on college campuses and invite people opposing views and just go back and forth and have a debate. We ought to be able to debate and have dialogue and go to college campuses without, don't know this.
Holy Holy fucking based. What? What will MAGA say if the man who fatally shot Charlie Kirk turns out to be an extreme right-wing Trump supporter? He'll just be a lunatic fringe lone wolf gunman who needed Jesus. Nancy Mace 2 days ago. We know Charlie Kirk would want us to pray for such an evil and lost individual like Tyler Robinson to find Jesus Christ. We will try to do the same.
Say that political violence is bad, but you always say after this that the right is responsible for this political violence. So you never say both sides. You never say both sides, at least without giving the actual statistics and context. You never denounce or you don't whitewash the people like Charlie Kirk, like Ezra Klein did with his article. You never give one-sided gestures when the other side doesn't give you any gestures, like when there was minutes of silence. Or
it's not a gesture to Republicans for Bernie Sanders to just unequivocally condemn political violence. You're not doing that for MAGA.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You absolutely are. Whether you like it or not, that's what you're doing.
Just unequivocally condemn political violence. You're not doing that for MAGA.
Yes, but even in Bernie Sanders' address, he didn't give the actual context of political violence in the US. She just basically said both sides. He contributes to this idea that it's 50-50, that majority of Americans also think, which is opposite to reality. So Bernie Sanders is part of the problem of Democrats failing in their messaging in regards to political violence.
Did Bernie Sanders really do that, though?
Even if he's like...
I could not...
I would have to see the Bernie Sanders thing, because I feel like Bernie Sanders is usually pretty good about not cucking out. What's this? Because when I saw Charlie... What are you about to say here?
do when they're afraid.
Maybe they change. They adjust their behavior. Maybe when you go out, maybe when you go out. No, but they don't really. They just sell it well because you know that they don't give a. Because when I saw Charlie,
do when they're afraid?
Maybe they change. They adjust their behavior.
Yeah, but they also.
Oh, probably when I saw Charlie get killed, it made me wonder if I could get shot and killed at an event. It's kind of scary. I think Hassan was kind of shook. I think when you watch it, it's pretty spooky. That's like I said, like if Biden or Kamala were president and this happened. And they came out and they were like, we're in a fight of good versus evil right now, guys, okay? It's like, bro, these motherfuckers have crosshairs. Why are you saying this shit? Hello? Bernie's thing was this.
Thank you very much for joining me. I want to say a few words regarding the terrible murder yesterday of Charlie Kirk, someone who I strongly disagree with on almost every issue, but who was clearly a very smart and effective communicator and organizer, and someone unafraid to get out into the world and engage the public. My condolences go out to his wife and his family. A free and...
Hey, what's good, big dog? Yo, what's up, Resident Evil? How we doing today, man? How we feeling today? It's been a long day, bro. I just jogged like 4 miles, almost 5 miles, bro. And then was walking around all day, so my legs are cooked. And I cooked dinner for everybody else. Like, fuck, my legs are gone, bro. So I'm just glad to be sitting down.
Great. I have a point of view that is different than yours. That's great. Let's argue it out. We make our case to the American people at the local, state, and federal levels, and we hold free elections in which the people decide what they want. That's called...
7 fucking burgers for Wendy's? What the hell, bro? That's a lot of bread. I mean, get your burger on. Dude, they have one of the best burgers. I will say that for sure. One of the best burgers. That, you know who surprisingly has some good burgers? Is Del Taco. Surprisingly. Has the double Del. It's pretty good. Their meat's a little thin, but if you slap on another one, it's pretty fire. Yeah. Wendy's go ham. What? There's no way you ordered 7, bro. I don't believe you. Oh, okay. Del Taco in Canada. Okay, gotcha. None of them in there. Got it. Oh, you haven't had an In-N-Out burger then either. Then. Oh, that sucks. In-N-Out's the shit.
Life and make people afraid of participating. From the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol, to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, to the attack on Paul Pelosi, to the attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Whitmer, to the murder of Minnesota Speaker of the House Melissa Hortman and her husband, to the arson attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, to the shooting...
I ordered 7 and a large root beer because I skipped the dishes. Requires $30 to get a free delivery free. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. And you're gonna eat it like you got a air fryer? I'm thinking like to reheat the food, or I got an air fryer and I cook everything in that motherfucker. I swear that thing is just like the chef, you know.
I'm a Governor George Wallace. This
There
is
you
a
go.
difficult
There you
and
go.
contentious
That's how you
moment
do
in
it.
American history.
That's the real dream
Democracy
right there.
in our country and throughout the world is under attack. And there are a lot of reasons for that which need serious discussion. But bottom line, if we honestly believe in democracy, if we believe in freedom, all of us must be loud and clear. Political violence, regardless of ideology, is not the answer.
W
Must be
air
the
fryers for sure.
Thank you very much.
This statement is cucked and dog shit. What a horrible fucking statement. A waste of time. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Jeez.
I could not disagree more with what you're saying here. You think Bernie Sanders, because he made mention, I mean, this was a moment when like he was taking that opportunity not to present
How many burgers would you get from Wendy's for $30? I think they're like $7 to $8, $7 to $9, right? So that's what. That's a good, probably like 5 burgers. A junior bacon cheeseburger? Yeah, those are fire. You know what I like to get is the biggie deals. The biggie deals that they got with some spicy chicken nuggets, the double stacker, and some fries. That's what I like to get from Wendy's. And if I just want the burger itself, I get the double Dave or the triple Dave, depending on how hungry I am. But the triple Dave is just pretty big. So I'm like, double Dave is fine with me. It gets right there. And then they used to have the dopest chili, and they fucking got rid of the recipe or something. The chili does not taste the same at all. We have the double Dave and the triple Dave. I don't know if we have that or not. Got it. Yeah, the spicy nuggets are actually really spicy. I like them. My Mexican ass, of course, I'm gonna like the spicy ones. You know. Oh, and the spicy chicken is actually pretty fucking good and hot.
Extremely clear with your messaging. You also have to connect the Republican rhetoric with the violence. Like, he didn't say anything about Donald Trump being part of the reason why the tensions have been so high the last 10 years.
You can do that, but you can do that after you've made like a statement unequivocally condemning violence. Like, there's nothing stopping, and Bernie's going to continue to make that case. You know? Bernie's not going to stop criticizing Trump or assigning blame to Trump for like pouring kerosene on the fire.
Who is committing violence for Bernie Sanders? Who's committing violence for Joe Biden? What do these people need to disavow?
Hutch? I don't know who he is. Hutch? I just started the stream.
Trump's side won't disavow anything.
Yeah,
All he's done is affirm right-wing violence.
He's
over
doing
and
reviews.
Over again.
You're
That's
right.
it. How the fuck would it be on anyone on the left to disavow anything?
Like putting out a statement, just an unequivocal condemnation the day of a shooting. That's a totally different thing than like.
I just know that like Hassan, Destiny, and a lot of leftists are getting like a lot of death threats, and so they're like trying to prove their innocence today. I guess. I mean, I don't blame them. They're getting fucking death threats today, so it's like they're gonna try to talk about it. Is he live? Yeah, Destiny is live right now. Yeah. So I just opened up the YouTube. He started his live was on. I was like, let me just see what the fuck's going on with him while everybody comes into the chat, into our live. You know.
You can have that conversation about how Trump contributes to political violence himself with his rhetoric, how he's encouraged violence, how he's mocked violence, how the majority of the violence that we're seeing from political extremists are coming from the right. You still do that, you know?
I think the reason why this wrong perception is so popular is because in the most decisive moments, there isn't this clear messaging. If you let the actual context and the actual truth be something you say post fact, then it won't land as well after you've just done essentially thoughts and prayers the first time.
Listen, I cannot disagree with you more. Like, if you think that Barack Obama would be better, like if you think a statement from Barack Obama, where instead of what he said, which I thought was totally appropriate to the situation, we don't yet know the motivation of the shooter. We must all unequivocally condemn political violence of all kinds. If he would have ended that with ... but most of it's coming from Republicans, you have now just annihilated the point of the statement. You are being divided, even if you're telling the truth. Like, we call this tact. Like, even if you're telling the truth, even if what you're saying is truthful, if he said that,
can I explain the benefit of my strategy besides?
You would have to explain how that wouldn't just light the situation even more on fire.
So you would lose like maybe the 1 or 5% of Republicans who still care about Democrat opinion. You
ready to watch the Alex and Nick Fuentes? It's their denial and gaslighting that is putting them in the category. If they were open and saying, "Hey, we know that one of our left extremists committed this act of violence and we disavow it completely. We are sympathetic to this situation and they don't celebrate," then I think we would be able to move on further. But because they're denying it, it's provoking. That makes sense. They just said most liberal or most left like higher ups. They said they don't condone the violence, and so I'm like, you know, they're saying what they got to say. What Destiny's saying is, if Trump stops, just say we need to get along as a unit, and not just keep saying the lunatic left. You know, kind of like provoking the right wing to like inciting violence, I guess, like that. And I understand that one.
Holy shit! I'm gonna make a death note before I go out to go live and not. God, it's so cucked. It's so optics cucked. The question you should ask is, why is nobody on the right afraid enough to say, hey, Trump, can you, like, tone it down a little bit, bro? We're getting killed out here. Like, literally. Can we, like, chill? It's unacceptable that feeling doesn't exist over there. And the reason why it doesn't is because they're just, like, infinitely hyped up on their civil war machine. And then everybody on the left just rolls over.
That's fair. That's a fair take. Trump is literally saying that he doesn't want to have violence. I think he's going to play some video games now. All right. I'm going to move on. Do you want to watch the Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes things, or do you want to wait for more people to come up? Resident Evil? I'm down to watch it. Let's watch it. All right, cool. I've been waiting all day. I literally been waiting all day. So I'm like, I got to wait for the chat to come up, you know, and I've been like holding off watching it for you motherfuckers. Just kidding. Alex and Nick Fuentes. You're holding my life back. Resident Evil, you're holding my life back. All right? Just kidding. Proudly. Okay. Part 1. My bad, bro. I'm just messing with you. All right, let's look at.
It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see it on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there.
It's Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. 5:02 Central Standard Time. I'm in Austin, Texas. And Nicholas J. Fuentes is in Chicago in his studios. And we are going to him live for a discussion, debate. But when he was on a few weeks ago, I've been up since 5 a.m. and I was extremely tired. I was not drunk, as some people thought, though I wish I was. And he did a great job, and people enjoyed it. But I, didn't bring much.
I got something stuck. I got popcorn stuck in my teeth.
Things that always makes it more interesting to have a spirited discussion that brings out the best thoughts in people. But since then, I do have some disagreements.
I got it.
On things like Trump wants, police state martial law. I mean, I think that goes too far. Though the direction it's going at some point could become dangerous, but right now it's a response to all the tyranny and some other areas as well. And
is there denial? Oh, gas. Okay, Trump is literally. Oh, hell yeah! Don't you remember yesterday? Donald Trump explicitly stated that he doesn't want violence. That it's not what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. My bad, bro. My wig and Nick. My wig and Nick is crazy. But I got burgers stuck in mine. It's easy to get burgers out your teeth, bro. It's hard to get fucking kernels of fucking popcorn out mine, dude.
I just decided before we went live, so I'm not sneak attacking Nick with this. I made the decision on this. I said, hey, what topics you want to cover? Here's the topics I want to cover. They're basically the same topics. I never get into the infighting. I never get into all of the soap opera stuff that happens in conservative, populist, Christian, common sense media. But this infighting, or whatever you want to call it, with Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, and now everybody piling on against Nick, has to be addressed. And I was thinking about it literally 5 minutes ago. And, Nick's a smart guy, so he doesn't mind something being sprung on him. And I'm like, let's go there first. Because I like all these people, and I need them all to succeed, especially people like Elon Musk. And behind the scenes, you see Roger, the articles we're publishing about trying to get him back in the White House. It was bad when he left.
Is the audio okay for you, bro? I just want to make sure it sounds all right.
I have had more people come up to me in the streets, on the hike and bike
All right,
trail,
perfect.
family, grocery stores. I mean, basically everywhere I go, they come up and talk about Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and all the rest of this, Candace Owens, and that's interesting because I know Buzz. I've been on the air 31 years, had success pretty much right away locally, and then within a few years got syndicated. So I had big success 25 years ago. So I know buzzes when I see them. And this buzz rivals buzzes when I've go on Joe Rogan and it gets 100 million views. I mean, I can count on one hand the times I've seen buzzes this big. When Trump's come on the show and stuff like that, this in ways is bigger. And that shows how seismic it is. And yeah, it's true. The attacks on Fuentes backfired. And it's making it exponentially bigger. And so it's just important, I think, from a 35,000-foot view, if Nick can do this, to analyze it as a political analyst and as a media analyst instead of himself personally. So there I sprung it. I want to do that first and go through the other topics with him. Nick thinks Trump's betrayed everything on the border and deportations. I'm tracking the numbers. I know the insiders. I know they dismantled it under Biden. He's scaling up. I know Trump's backed off some on the skilled visa stuff. So Nick's got his points, but still, I want to ask Nick, why are you just 100%, it seems, on Trump and not the Democrats? That's probably my biggest beef, because we can criticize Trump all day and try to keep him on the straight and narrow and be mad at him if we want. And
The Democrats are not in power no more. That's why Nick Fuentes do that. I mean, that's why I would say that I'm doing that, right? Trump is in power, right? He's got, look, realistically, he's got 6 more months. I think 6 more months or 4 more months of blaming the Democrats, of blaming Biden. Joe Biden this, the Democrats that, they fucked up, Dude, once you get into a year of your presidency, a full year of your presidency, there's nobody else to fucking blame no more. I think that's where I'm at right now. Once the year is up, you can't be saying fucking Biden out your mouth every other fucking sentence.
And not even supporting, but we can support good stuff he's doing. So why does Nick spend most of his time on Trump? And I think that's a legitimate question. We'll go to Nick here in a moment. But first, my message to the globalists, who are the real enemy, that they have awoken the terrible giant. And Trump's just a symbol of that, riding in on the surfboard. We brought this global awakening, and it is supercharged right now. And the man...
George Washington fucked up our country, bro. Imagine. President just goes all the way back to George Washington. Jesus Christ.
Of the moment, which once you hit this type of moment, it isn't a moment, it goes on, and it gets bigger, is Nick Fuentes. And I talked to him a couple weeks ago. I saw him on his own show that night because I watched part of it the next morning when I was working out. He said, yeah, I think they're going to try to come after me and kill me now. Well, they already have. I called him and I said, let me tell you, I've been around the block. You better watch your ass because you're about to go next level, and the Death Star is going to take a shot at you. So here's our message to the globalists. Remember, folks, they're the real enemy, and they're in trouble. Here is the terrible giant. We'll go right to Nick Fuentes. Everybody watching, share the live feed right now from his feed at Rumble, ours at Rumble, Real Alex Jones on it.
I got to get a Rumble account started.
Share it, because this is going to be a lively discussion, a lot of inside baseball, a real debate, and more. We'll go as long as Nick wants to go. Stay with us.
I got to get started on my Rumble accounts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
My buddy was telling me about a UK streaming new platform that he's like, dude, you should hop on this one too, and you should hop on Rumble. I mean, obviously, yes, get on every streaming platform that I can, but dude, I have to make the fucking account and scramble it to my multi-platform OBS studio thing, and I'm like, god damn, can I just fucking stream? Can I just play a fucking video game? You know what I'm saying? Can I just do nothing? You know?
Up tonight because I got to sit there in Austin.
It takes 20 minutes, but it's 20 minutes of extra doing shit, I'm like, fuck. I just sat down, so once I maybe get some time right now, I'll do it.
In court, they don't want me in the courtroom. I was watching it because the judge had
takes a little bit of effort, but it's still effort,
with the show trial and all that. And after the debate tonight with Nick Fuentes, I'll give you a huge update. Remember how they did a fake auction and got caught and the judge said it was illegal? Remember how they closed the doors and turned the internet off and the judge overrode them? They just appointed a receiver and gave them the order to send in the Austin Travis County Sheriff's Department and seize the building when there's a stay and the federal judge has blocked it And that's going to be huge when they come in here and grab the building and then a federal judge overrides them. It's cut and dry. But it's just like these federal judges saying Trump can't deport people when it's right in the Constitution. So, of course, it got overridden by the Supreme Court and other appellate courts. I mean, when you know the law, it's cut and dry. And she just did it again. And she told my lawyers, you can't talk. I'm doing this. So I don't know what the sheriff's department's going to do. I don't know if they come tomorrow, next week. I mean, you can't make up cliffhangers like this. So I'm pretty pissed off and wound up. So that's coming up. But it's also really good from what I've been told. I mean, this is crazy. But it shows how desperate they are. Now, I wanted to get Nick on, and I asked him to come on this week, to, discuss the whole waterfront and where the world's going. And also, Netanyahu's trying to drag us into war with Iran again and all the rest of it. And I wanted to debate him on the border and enforcement, because I think Trump overall is doing the best job with the tools they have and they're gearing up. It'll be a friendly debate. But since then, he's come out and said, he thinks, that Trump wants this as a police state, so for Israel or something. And Israel is involved with anti-free speech laws and training police and things. So that's actually a...
Dude, yeah, he says like 50 words for one fucking sentence. He'll say like 50 sentences for one fucking idea. It's crazy.
A real fear, I believe, but I don't see that as why Trump's doing this. We'll debate that, and that's a real issue I disagree with Nick on.
But also, you're talking about like his facial expressions, like...
Let him put out his view on it. I don't want to misrepresent it. But as I just said in the intro, I don't think I've ever seen buzz this big on a topic. I mean, every time I go out in public and walk around at least 10, 15 people, I mean, if I see like, the guy comes to clean the pool or something, he doesn't bring it up. But I mean, if I get around a gas station, a grocery store, anywhere, multiple people bring up Nick Fuentes and this big battle, and everybody thinks he's being ganged up on, and he's a really smart guy, and wow, they heard he was a bad guy, but now they love his show. And the show's been big forever. He's been around 8 years or so, 9 years, but it's exploded. And I know when something explodes like that, I called him a week and a half ago and I said, you better get ready for the big attacks. And look, I'm not fighting with Tucker or Candace or Elon Musk. I love all those people. And I think they have their own, perspectives and their own issues. And I defended Tucker because he confided me 2 weeks after his dad died when I was up there with him for a few days, having dinner and lunch, that, wow, I knew he worked with the CIA because USA did and Voice of America and all that, but I didn't know he was high level, and he was high level. I said, Tucker, come on. That's so I don't think Tucker's lying about that. So I've said my little intro, but just in general, I have been extremely famous for 15 years. I mean, really famous for 25, 30. So I know what it's like. I know what happens. I know how people get jealous. They come after you, or they think you're a bad guy. A lot of stuff happens. And, Nick's 26, but he's been, active, for politics for at least 10 years or so. So he's...
Let the Groyper King talk. Let the leader of the Groypers fucking put his nuts down already, bro.
He's a big guy. But at the same time...
Fuck.
It's this phenomenon that goes on that is a zeitgeist. And when you become the symbol of a zeitgeist, as I have been and as Trump has been and only a few others, and Tucker is kind of the voice of the populist conservative movement, he's an icon. When you get to that level, just a lot of things happen that are good and or bad. But bigger than Nick Fuentes is the issue of the symbol he's become. And
yeah, exactly. I've been famous for 15 to 30 years. But enough about me.
The fact that that's a bellwether or a canary in the coal mine, that the Great Awakening's been accelerating for at least 10 years, but it's exploding now, and there is a total break with the system and anything seen as establishment. And so, is it healthy to have all this fighting and all these people going after each other? Well, at the end of the day, it is healthy to have a debate about the populist movement and the Republican Party and our ongoing somewhat successful takeover of that. And so overall, this is very positive what's happening. and really the end of political correctness. People not just minding being
Hey,
politically
Becca
correct,
Bear, what's
but actually
poppin'?
reveling in
Welcome
it,
to the
understanding
chat.
That we've been bullied and intimidated.
We just
in this
started
very
the
healthy
video,
thing.
but Alex Jones keeps fucking
Then out
talking
of that,
with the
you can
intro,
swing
so
too
it's just
far
been taking a
to
while
the
to get
other
there.
side, which I believe is a danger as well. So we are in a time of momentous change. You have a lot of people. The Democratic Party is certainly still in their bubble.
Quick question, Becca. With $30, how many Wendy's burgers can you buy in your area? For $30. How many Wendy's burgers can you buy with $30 in your hood?
But a lot of Republicans that really aren't even neocons, but rub shoulders with both sides of the populist and neocon movement, that, like Charlie Kirk,
depends on the burger.
that
Yeah.
now are sounding now more like Fuentes.
He said Junior Bacon
just
Cheese.
like Fuentes at Turning Point and all these other groups 8-9 years ago, they saw he was a smart guy, charismatic. Even when he was 18 years old, bring him in, hire him, and then try to send him to Israel and brainwash him and make him do that. That made him go the other direction. They kind of, I would say, accelerated him becoming what he is today. And it's the same thing when now Charlie Kirk is like, I have the Jewish lobby, the Israel lobby, calling up and threatening me, and I've been your greatest ally. How dare you? And that's how this process begins. And then you've got Flynn, who's like, hey, I'm a big fan of Israel, helped him, worked with him, on and on, but they stood down on October 7th. They're trying to drag us into war. They are manipulating the White House, and they're a danger. So I've got to come out against what's happening in Israel. You have to, okay? There's no other way. But then I don't want to be associated, not because I get attacked or because the ADL be mean to me, they already are, with the people that take it to the total cuckoo land and, say evil only exists because of these interests when there's other fish to fry and other issues as well. Though Israel, through Netanyahu, is trying a full takeover in this power vacuum of the White House. So now
I don't eat a ton of fast food. Coming from a good home, learn how to cook. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Gone great guns and said, now this is the big central attack. Because it is true what people were saying in the past. It was partially true before. Now it really is, and so we have to just be honest about that. But that's
nothing
not
but paper plates.
I was being attacked.
No dishes, paper plates for fucking Resident Evil.
Policies of the globalists, which Israel supports, and others, and the Chi-Coms all are in alignment. And so I was getting
no dishes
and mainlining this. That was what I was doing. But that was good in the past and helped build all of this. Now it's all out in the open. Now we move into the out in the open mask off battle. So that's a long 15-minute rant intro. I'm going to give Nick Fuentes the floor here for at least 15 minutes. And we'll start the debate.
My grandma had a catering biz, and then when I was a teen, she had a diner. Dude, that's fucking sick. That's awesome. I would love that. Dude, that is dope. That's a businesswoman right there. Shit, shout out to grandma.
After that, and I appreciate him being here tonight. And he's got his own stream coming up this evening as well at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. He does it different times. To go wherever you want, but I'd like you to also spend some time addressing the attacks that have really, I'm not even looking for it, and it's everywhere. Phone calls, in my email, text messages. I go to X trying to look up Peace Summit stuff, and it's all, you just see everybody jumping on, piling on to get Nick Fuentes. And, a lot of that is just, again, the dogpiling thing, kind of a mass formation, mob psychology. And then I sit back and I go, if they're jealous or don't like you or think you're really the devil.
When the hell is Nick gonna talk? Is Nick gonna talk?
That's the last thing you do, creating a mass Streisand effect. So the rocket your ass was.
That's how much we've grown as a fucking internet culture. Like, Alex, shut the fuck up. Let the boy talk. Let the young man talk.
2 weeks ago, now just going 10 times faster. And so that is an amazing place to be. So that's just my Gestalt stream of consciousness rant. Nick J. Fuentes on Rumble.
Dude, Becca, I swear to God, you're like fucking connected to the streets, bro. Imagine we go through the entire video and Nick doesn't say a word. Dude, Alex is the one to do that. Alex Jones can make that happen. I swear. Yo, Becca, I swear you're the most connected person I know in South Carolina, bro. Like you're like mob ties, bro. You know everybody in that bitch. You're really good with networking.
Well, thank you for being here. You got the floor.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. It has been certainly a strange couple of weeks with everything that's gone on. And, you know, I've seen people characterize it on Twitter, the sort of feud that's been going on with Candace, with Tucker, with Elon, with all these different figures. And I don't know that you would characterize it this way, but I've seen other people say this. They say it's infighting. And I don't really like that term because I don't think it does justice to what actually took place, which is that you and I were both really on top of this back in June. There was a war in Iran. It really all goes back to this, at least for me. And I think, you know, you asked me to kind of take the 20,000-foot view, the 30,000-foot view. To me, the 30,000-foot view has so much to do with the populist movement, with Trump, and with the situation in Iran as it has unfolded over the past few years. So going back to June, you and I were on this. I was doing these big streams covering the war. I did your show. You were doing huge streams covering the war in Iran. It was blowing up. I do this show with Candace Owens, who I've had a little drama with her in the past. I've also helped her in the past. So we've had kind of a relationship which has been characterized by sometimes friendliness, but sometimes negativity. And without relitigating the entire drama, we do a interview in the middle of the war, and we don't talk about the war at all. We don't talk about Trump. We don't talk about you know, our cancellation, the Daily Wire, any of these things.
I remember I was actually when this war was happening, when they were live streaming the bombs hitting Tel Aviv and Israel and Iran, or not Iran. It was I forgot who, Iraq, or I forgot who they were fighting. But they were actually, I was actually watching the bombs hitting live. It was so surreal. It was crazy. I was watching it on Asmongold's stream. We're just watching rockets just fucking get hit or being taken out by the Iron Dome. And I was like, this is fucking weird. I'm actually seeing a war in live streamed right now. This is the weirdest thing. And I'm like, I gotta learn how to live stream. Like that's what kind of connected me to start the fucking streaming.
She's pressing me about drama, things like this. Now, some people thought it was an interesting interview. A lot of people are disappointed in what we talked about, or maybe what we did not talk about. Needless to say, there was this big reaction to how she handled it, and that it was behind a paywall, all these things. Then she goes on Tucker, and Tucker Carlson calls me a Fed. I do this big reaction stream to that. Clearly, that accusation backfires. Now, I don't know Tucker. I've never... without watching my show or knowing me, he seems to think...
Uh-oh, he's going out. His,
Did he say that I'm an asset of the left or of the federal government? He says, but I'm this weird gay kid in my basement from Chicago, and who is this guy, and all this stuff. This backfires. And then a week later, I get Elon Musk replying to Milo, accusing me of being a Fed. And you take this whole thing together, and I wouldn't characterize that as infighting. I would say what that looks like to me is a coordinated attack. I think it stinks.
all right, you literature nerds in the chat, you chill out with the books, all right? We only do movie theater stuff here, all right? We only watch movies here. If it's good enough to be a book and it's good enough to be a movie, I watch it. No, I'm just kidding. You could get like a video on like the summary of it. I'll watch that.
I think it reeks of coordination because it's the same types of accusations coming from people that are all connected to each other. Elon replied to Milo. Milo did a show with Candace the week before. Candace did the show with Tucker the week before that. And Candace and Tucker did a show right around the time that she quit Daily Wire. So it's like, all these people know each other. They're all connected and clearly talking in the same 2 to 3 week period. They're all saying the same things. And so it stinks to me like this is kind of like an avalanche. It's almost like a backlash against my popularity. And for me, the big question is this. I think everybody's assumption based on what has taken place in the past year and a half, ever since the war in Gaza, obviously there's this mass awakening about Israel and the influence of Israel and how that is detrimental to the United States, that we're being drawn into this conflict. We're backing a genocide. It's $30 billion in aid. It's World War III, all these things. And these figures like Candace and Tucker in particular, they rise to the surface and are elevated, whereas Tucker was at Fox News and Candace was at Daily Wire. Suddenly, they are these major critics of Israel. They're major critics of what's going on. Now, to the layperson, you would say, they're kind of meeting me where I was. I've been on this, as you know, for 10 years.
The political playbook of the modern society.
As the anti-Semite. I was known as the anti-Israel guy. Now, the layperson would say Candace and Tucker are kind of coming around. They woke up. They got red-pilled. They're on the right side now. They're pushing the truth. And that's why there's this strangeness that it reeks of coordination. It reeks of this coordinated attack. And from the least likely people, you would think the attack would come from the usual suspects like a Ben Shapiro, a Charlie Kirk, who I have feuded with over the years, who are very pro-Israel, who are much closer to the establishment. That it would come from these relative outsiders that were jettisoned by Fox and Daily Wire in the past couple of years, that broke with that consensus view. For this coordinated attack to come from them is very suspicious. And I drew a lot of attention to that on my show, the suspicious nature of it, and said, maybe things are not as they seem. Now, as far as you're concerned, both Candace and Tucker. You had Candace on your show last week. I know you're good friends with Tucker. And, I saw what you said. I appreciated that you defended me from the accusation that I'm a Fed. But what I would say is this is sort of where I'm at psychologically. I don't know Tucker.
She be tripping.
I don't know her well. I've obviously met her and had my interactions with her.
That's pretty funny.
Recently.
When I was a kid, I told the teacher she was to teach. Oh, I gotta read this. This is pretty funny. He was the kid. When I was a kid, told the teacher his job was to teach Shakespeare, not ruin it. In Macbeth, when she was out damn spots, teacher went, she be tripping. Yo, to read Shakespeare in like the modern language right now, like how we talk in the streets, would be kind of hilarious.
If they're honest journalists, if they mean what they say and say what they mean, if they are who they say they are, maybe this is all just a big colossal misunderstanding. Maybe they legitimately have real concerns about me. Maybe it's not coordinated. And to that I would say, why doesn't Tucker Carlson have me on his show? Better yet, why doesn't he talk to me on the phone privately? I don't need the clout at this point.
Well,
I mean,
don't
the whole
mean to
feud
interrupt,
blew up.
I'll shut up, but that's where I was going to go next. I can call Tucker and ask him, can you imagine if I hosted a debate even remotely and I'd be fair? That would be massive. Everybody wants that. I mean, I know Candace asked you for another debate, and usually, the person that loses, and I would say she did, wants, another one. But you and Tucker, that would be the new debate. You would accept that if I hosted a debate with you and Tucker?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you could call it a debate, a discussion, whatever you want to do. I would do a debate, absolutely, because, he made specific claims pertaining to Joe Kent. He said the reason that he's suspicious of me is because of my attacks on Joe Kent. And I've said this to you, and I've said it to Candace, and I've been saying it to anyone who will listen. In fairness, almost to the point of being a nuisance, I've told that story about Joe Kent for many years.
Even politicos, a lot of people don't really remember Joe Kent. Why don't you recap people that don't know then?
Sure. So Joe Kent ran for Congress in 2022, and he received some backing from Peter Thiel, and he had a mutual friend, Matt Braynard. Matt Braynard was his first hire on his campaign. He was a consultant. Braynard was at AFPAC. He was at my convention. And long story short, Joe Kent attacked me in 2022. I initially supported him. I talked to him on the phone. We were going to send the Groypers out to Washington to help him. And out of a clear blue sky in 2022, he launches this attack on me and says that he condemns me because of my opposition to Israel and because I talk about race and religion. He said that my message does not fit with inclusive populism, which is his vision. Now, in response to his attack, I mobilized the Groypers to Washington, and the Groypers that were going to help him then were hurting him. And I said, we will not reward betrayal. We will not reward people that claim to be America first, but are really Israel first. We're going to make an example out of him. Now, Joe Kent lost. It was a major upset. That was rated as a safe Republican district, and he lost by like 1,000 votes. And so credibly, you could say that I caused him to lose. But I caused him to lose to make an example out of someone that says they're America first, but when the chips are down, they're really Israel first. Now, Tucker was good friends with Joe Kent, and they had this relationship. Tucker promoted Joe Kent on his show. And I think that Tucker blamed me for the loss. This is his friend.
Oh, that
and
makes
he said,
sense.
oh, you made my friend lose. What motivation would you have to see this guy who purports to be America first? Why would you want to take him out? And so Tucker then worked with Max Blumenthal on a hit piece in the Gray Zone. And that's where all this "you're a federal agent" accusation originated, was from a hit piece in the Gray Zone in February 2023, just a couple of months after Joe Kent lost. And, you know, so maybe that's just a misunderstanding, but I have said repeatedly, I did not come at Joe Kent randomly. I didn't pick on him because he was great. I was supporting him. Then he disavowed me because I criticize Israel. Like, it doesn't get more on the nose than that. And so I would either like the opportunity to tell Tucker that or to debate about that. But for him to say that, you know, I'm like mobilized by the intelligence agencies or by the left to take out Joe Kent because he's a legit fighter for America first, you know, that's just not true. And, you know, it's on Twitter for everybody to see. You could still find those tweets. They're still up there. And I've been consistent on that story for 3 years now. So anyway, so that was the basis of his attack.
That's interesting.
And
I didn't know that.
Sit down with him and really just squash the beef. And you know me, I mean, we've had debates and we've had interviews. I'm a big boy. If Tucker wants to give me the Ted Cruz treatment.
When you were here with Kanye, I called you baby Hitler, and I meant it as a joke. But you know, other people would have, oh, how dare you? You just made it. But the point is, we've had some real debates.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to back down or shy away from the questions. And as far as Tucker's concerned, I, like you, want to see America succeed. I am not one of these people that is advocating for violence,
a doomsdayer,
or civil war, or anything like that.
End the world type shit.
Yeah, I want America to succeed. I want the border to be closed. I want to avoid a conflict in the Middle East. Tucker has been working to prevent a war in Iran. So have I. I've been calling that, and so have you. I mean, so I look at the three of us as very aligned on certain things that are good for America, like being against the war. And that's why it's puzzling that for 3 years, or 2.5 years, Tucker's been working against me in this way, making these accusations. And here's the thing. Tucker has 17 million followers. He's got a massive show. If he is promulgating this idea that I'm a Fed in private and in public, that's very damaging for me. And so when I go on my show and say, why
he has less
doing this?
leverage
Is it because his dad is in the CIA? I'm defending myself. I'm being put in this position where very powerful, influential people with credibility in our movement, whether it's Candace or Tucker, and maybe they don't realize that. Maybe because I'm very popular and I have a fanatical following, maybe it's easy to forget. I'm being charitable here. I'm being nice. Candace has 7 million followers. Tucker has 17 million. I just got unbanned on Twitter last May. I'm not allowed on YouTube. And that's not to play the world's smallest violin for being censored, but it's to say,
wow,
I'm kind of the new kid on the block. I just emerged from being censored all this time. For them to be calling out this orbital strike on my reputation, saying I'm a Fed and making these accusations, and in private, I mean, I have many people I know saying, oh, I have a mutual friend that's insisting you're a Fed because Tucker said so. Like, that's a big problem for me. And so that kind of punching down, it's not really cool. And it's especially not cool when I don't even have the opportunity to defend myself. And I just don't get where all that tough guy stuff goes. He calls out Ray Epps, who he accused.
Just for context, sorry. The excerpt that I'm going to turn into an audio clip was written after World War II. and at the beginning of the Cold War, okay, Orwell had witnessed the rise of fascism, Hitler, Mussolini, and Stalinism, communism. He saw how propaganda, censorship, and totalitarian, I can't even say that word, control over destroy truth itself. The purpose of it was that he wanted to warn future generations that modern technology, mass media, and authoritarian politics could combine to create a system of power more permanent and suffocating than anything in history. He's talking about the NWO. You're talking about the New World Order. He didn't. Yeah, he's talking about World War III, essentially. Oh yeah, for sure. So from what I gather in the Bible, from what someone told me, who studies it really a lot, is that 5 nations in the West and 5 nations of the East, they're gonna connect, and then when that happens, we're fucked. That's pretty much game over, because then a global lockdown will be happening. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's endgame right there, guys. That's where we're fucked after that. And then supposedly during that time, during the war of that new NWO, a nation of, I forgot, it's going to be a nation of Islam or a nation of some type of Israel. I'm not sure which one it is, but they're going to go to the temple of the Jews and they're going to sacrifice a pig on the temple in order to like cuck them, you know. But that's like prophesized that they're going to slaughter a pig to some like worship ground and temple or something like that, and that's gonna be prophesized too. Like it's like saying fuck you, you know. So I mean, I get where that's going to. I get where that book is going to, but I'm down to watch it. I'm down to hear it out, is what I meant to say. Yeah, and he wrote it in 1948. He went undercover. He worked for the BBC before they went corrupt. Who? Orwell? Okay, Orwell. What was Orwell doing in World War II? Was he like a soldier or something? Who's Orwell? I mean, I could look it up too. Don't get me wrong. If you want me to look it up, I can look it up. Who Orwell is, or you could just tell me. Up to you.
This is being a Fed to go on his show. He calls out Ted Cruz, all these people, but then does a 15-minute drive-by shot on me based on factual inaccuracies, and I don't get the right
Eric
reply.
Arthur
I don't even
Blair.
get an acknowledgement.
George Orwell.
It just stinks like bad faith at that point. So that's where I have to really fight back. So that's sort of where I am in the whole drama. I don't understand these people. I don't know them. All I have to go by is I know me. I know I'm legit. And if they're calling down these strikes on my reputation, I got to question, who are they? And when I look at them, if they're calling me a CIA agent, it's like, well, that's pretty rich. Because we don't have to go in. I don't want to use your platform to attack your friends. But for them to use that attack, it's pretty rich. Because Joe Kent, who is the subject of all of it, he's a CIA officer. So did Tucker not know his dad was in the CIA? He doesn't know Joe Kent is in the CIA.
Oh my God, dude.
Yet he knows.
Wow. Joe Kent is CIA too? Fuck. Everybody Tucker knows is CIA, but somehow he doesn't know they're CIA.
For a fact that I am. How does that work? Joe Kent, his close friend, and his dad are both in the CIA, to his shock and surprise. But he doesn't know me and doesn't watch my show, but he's absolutely certain that I am intelligent.
Isn't just writing from imagination. He wasn't just writing from imagination. During the 1930s and 40s, he was in the thick of the events that shaped the totality of several extreme leaders. One sec. Yeah, he was watching everything go down. I got you.
Now that's rich.
He was a young soldier reject. No, I was kidding.
And very ironic and also very hard to believe. So
he was a fellow reject.
You know, it is with a little bit of I don't know, uncertainty, I guess, about their motivations. It's sort of hard to piece together the narrative. Although I think I did a good job of it.
So I'm going to be able to continue, and I want to tell you why they think that. And I was there. I understand. I know what happened that day. People got hyped up. I know the inside baseball because
I'm just kidding. Nobody's a reject but me.
I had one of the big J6 lawyers, Norm Pattis, who was for the Proud Boys and others, and the Oath Keepers, and I know that he was your lawyer as well. And people go, oh, they got the same lawyer. They were working for the secret group too. So I get the same stuff. No, there's only certain lawyers that have balls to actually go in and do this because they try to disbar them. They try to put them in jail. They put a bunch of Trump lawyers in jail, for heaven's sakes. But I knew behind the scenes they were saying, he's on a no-fly list. They didn't seize his
only by title.
They're not subpoenaing him. They're not. I was getting subpoenaed too. You were the J6
solely
committee.
Accepted.
I know all that. So they don't do that to their operatives. You don't have Bill Barr with this new Veritas video where they got the text messages, the emails threatening the lady at the PR firm with Armstrong Williams reportedly, and Bill Barr, Trump's former attorney general, running around with Fani Willis in Georgia, literally helping her develop the plan to indict Trump for racketeering, which they did. And there you are in the hit list to put in.
He fought in the Spanish Civil War, where he saw both fascists and communists falsify reports and erase inconvenient truths in real time. In World War II, too ill with tuberculosis to be a soldier, he worked at the BBC, producing broadcasts for Eastern services, where he observed how governments shaped language and information for propaganda. As a journalist, he also reported bombings, rationing, and censorship in Britain, watching how fear and deprivation molded public opinion. These experiences of political betrayal, media manipulation, and machinery of propaganda convinced him that the modern can't even say that one, could become not just a passing tyranny, but a permanent system built on controlling truth itself. Got it. He was a goiper. No, I was kidding. No, but yeah. He saw the power of the propaganda tool. I gotcha.
In jail on January 6th, and later you're on the hit list. So
100%.
That right there, folks, when you're on a Bill Barr hit list, and
Groyper's W.
Because he's like right at the top of this thing, former high-level CIA attorney general twice for H.W. Bush, the W. Bush. You don't do that. I mean, that is just a fact. And so we can get to some of that coming up because I think that's important to get on the record here. But this is the issue, Nick. And
kidding, obviously. Yeah. We always kid over here for sure. Becca thinks I'm insane, probably. That they only let us see exactly what they want us to see. Yep. No, she's in the boat with us, brother. Look at that comment. She confirmed.
And I know you've released the emails, the text messages, all of it. We go to the lips, and then Trump says march down there, and it's all, hey, people have gone to the Capitol. It's fun. We don't know what's going on in there.
We're not groypers. I'm not. Yeah, no. Nobody's groyper here.
Internet. Okay, go in the Capitol. Okay, people got hyped up. People got excited. I saw a lot of other people that went in and did the same thing. You didn't go in. Now, you can still say, though, all right.
I got asked as a kid what I learned from reading Harry Potter. I told my mom the government lies.
Yeah. If you would have been there, I think you might have been. But the point is
2 points for Gryffindor. I don't know, something like that, right?
Is that they protected Ray Epps, who's running around for days saying go in, break in, do all of this.
Slytherin. Hufflepuff or Hufflepuff
doesn't make you a Fed. Then I know the inside baseball because I had the same lawyer, and you've now released all the documents and stuff that went on. That wasn't fake. And I've had to use lawyers to get undebanked and had to move banks. You have to file lawsuits. And then people say, oh, no, that's how they got control of him.
Becca said, fuck that, I'm on the evil side.
I've been through this so much internally myself that I know the lay of the land because I was there. And then I experienced it. And then I followed the case. And then I had the same lawyer. And so that's the reality of all of this. But this is the clip that has Tucker concerns. I want to play it so you can respond. Here it is.
Not all Slytherins are evil. We just know how to save our own skin. Hey Becca, what would I be? Which group would I be in? I don't know like the characteristics too well. You tell me which one I would be picked in, and then I'll read about it. Hufflepuff. Totally Hufflepuff. Let's see what Hufflepuff's all about real quick. Hold on. I want to go back to the Nick Fuentes thing, but let's see. Harry Potter. Hufflepuff. Traits.
Hufflepuff! You've just been sorted into Hufflepuff. Brilliant news. And we imagine you're keen to explore your new house. Founded by Helga Hufflepuff, this house values those who are just, loyal, and unafraid of toil. And while Hufflepuff might have been underestimated by the wizarding community...
Everyone says Hufflepuff are a lot of duffers, but I bet I'm in Hufflepuff, said Harry gloomily.
We know that it is a house bursting with potential. As a member of this house, what does this all mean for you? Let's find out.
Flaps tight down and watch me closely.
From its hard-working heroes to its rich...
Gryffindor would be left. Slytherin would be right. Slytherin would be left. Slytherin would be right. Okay, wait. We got to figure this out, guys. All right? I'm not a Harry Potter fan, per se. You know, I wasn't one of those kids in high school that fucking wore the cloak and ran around like a retard. I didn't do that. But I respected it. You know, I respected the culture. The reason why I even know about it, there's some girl that I was trying to smash a while back. She was a cosplayer, and she did like cosplays for like conventions. And I never owned a cloak. You did think about it. No, I was kidding. No, but so I was trying to smash, and she tried to show me the movies, which she did show me the movies, and I smashed. But I watched the movies, and I actually liked the production. I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty good movie. This is what all the little nerdy kids were talking about. Oh, okay, that's cool. I actually like the movies. Gryffindor could be the right, but Becca said she is Slytherin. We'll figure it out together.
History. Join us as we explore all things Hufflepuff.
What does it mean to be a Hufflepuff?
To discover who you are, let's take a look into Hufflepuff's fascinating history. When Hogwarts was created, Helga Hufflepuff decided that her house would be full of people who were trustworthy and down to earth, ready to roll their sleeves up and get stuck in.
You pull it sharply up out of the pot.
And when you look at Hufflepuff House and its members, that hard-working nature and general kindness stands out. You can feel Hufflepuff vibes everywhere, even in their common room. Like the other house common rooms, Hufflepuff's reflects the personality of its founder and those who belong in her house.
Poor girl was trying to show you a bit of her childhood, and all you want to do is smash. I'm a guy. I'm a simple man, all right? I'm a simple guy, all right? We did have a place here called Magic Quest. And yes, I went and bought the wand, but the wand was the game controller.
House. Even the way you enter it can give you insight into what it means to be a Hufflepuff. To enter your common room, located near the Hogwarts kitchens,
you must tap the barrel, 2 from the bottom, middle of the second row, in the rhythm of Helga.
The wand was a game controller only. I was kidding. I'm fucking with you, Becca.
Hufflepuff.
But beware. If you get it wrong, you'll be squirted in the face with vinegar. But how does this rather pungent booby trap relate to your personality as a Hufflepuff? Well, Hufflepuffs have a tendency to be underestimated. Yet, like the badger on your emblem, or the barrels guarding the entrance to your common room, when provoked, you will snap back, becoming a truly loyal defender.
Get down! Got it, sir! Expelliarmus!
Inside the common room, the homage to the humble badger continues, with the cosy and low-ceilinged room which is nestled into the ground, said to resemble a badger set. Incidentally, Hufflepuff is tied to the element Earth, making this the perfect home for all of its more grounded members.
Gonna put you back where you belong, aren't I, Frank? To the wilds of Arizona.
Said Hufflepuff, I'll teach the lot and treat them just the same.
Let's make one thing clear. While Hufflepuff is a house which is incredibly welcoming, if it simply was the case that it took the lot without thinking about what makes Hufflepuff unique, then there would be a few extra familiar faces in this house. Take Neville Longbottom, a Gryffindor student who was asked to be sorted into Hufflepuff.
Why is it always me?
Well, the sorting hat has been known to take personal...
It's like taking me too deep. I just need to know like what the character traits are. Like real quick. Like, oh, here we go. How long is this video?
Gryffindor house.
Oh, it's not bad.
Gryffindor
okay, 20
is
minutes.
arguably the most well-known house at Hogwarts, not because it's superior, but because most of the story is told from its perspective.
Just ask ChatGPT. Dang. But how would I ask it? Like, then they have to like tell me all about. I have to like tell them about me, right?
Founded over 1,000 years ago by Godric Gryffindor, the house is built on values of courage, honor, and moral decisiveness. But the full truth of Gryffindor House runs deeper than just boldness and bravery.
Pottermore quiz, fair. Oh, Pottermore quiz. Okay, is that where you're like, okay, let's do it. Pottermore quiz. Pottermore quiz. Oh, let's look it up. I'm gonna look it up. Quiz. Oh, it's not alive no more. Google. Is Pottermore still a thing? No, Pottermore is still not a thing. Just tell ChatGPT to give you the quiz. Okay. How do I look up ChatGPT? Hold on. Is it ChatGPT.com? Yeah, let's go over here. Okay. Give me the Harry Potter quiz. Sure, here's the quiz. What house? Easy, medium. Let me know when you answer the questions if you'd like to score or after trying. Okay, 1. What house of Hogwarts does Harry belong to? I don't know. Oh, these are just isn't yours isn't a sorting. No, you got to you taught to give the Pottermore. You have to okay. Let me try this again. ChatGPT.com. Now you got to give you the Potter. Give me. Hold on. I'm not the best typer. Give me the Pottermore quiz. Like that? I can't give you the exact Pottermore quiz because it's copyrighted content, but I can create a faithful replica style quiz. Let's begin. Answer honestly. Question 1. You enter a magical garden. What do you look at first? A silver tree with golden apples, a statue of an old wizard with a twinkle in its eye, a bubbling pool with something luminous inside, a talking toadstool that tells you its secret. What do you look at first? I mean, the talking toadstool is kind of crazy to look at because it's talking like well, but this is the magic world, right? We're used to this stuff, right? We're used to seeing these weird things. A statue of an old wizard. I would look at the statue of an old wizard because it's kind of like, I guess. Okay, question number 1 would be B. Yep. Now go ahead and answer the question number 2. Which of the following would you most hate people? Which of the following would you most hate people to call you? Ordinary, ignorant, cowardly, selfish. I would hate to be called cowardly. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no punk bitch, bro. Okay. What path do you intend to follow after leaving Hogwarts? Join the ministry to make a difference. Travel and explore the magical world. Start my own business. Continue studying magic and death. I'm pretty. I don't like listening to people, so I would have joined the ministry. Travel and explore. I guess if I was young, like super young with a lot of energy, I'd do that. Start my own business. I wouldn't do that till now, right? Maturing more. Continue studying magic and death. If I was obsessed with it, let's just say start my own business. Okay. Continue for sign up for free. Login. Oh my god, sign up for free. Login. Yeah, Google. Sold the reject. Hopefully it takes me back to the thing. Oh, it left. I don't know how to get there again. The ministry is their government. Here, I'm gonna click on this instead. Discover your Hogwarts house. Start the sorting ceremony. Let's see. 12, 21st, 1996. Now sold the reject at gmail.com. Password. Oh shit, I guess. Yes. Joseph Velasquez. Let's sign up. Let's go. Please send me Harry Potter stuff. Definitely not that. Okay. Here we go. Choose to continue. Dawn or dusk? No, dawn or dusk? Definitely nighttime. I'm more of a nighttime guy. Dusk, right? Is nighttime? Let's do it. If you could have any power, what would you choose? The power to read minds, the power to change the past, invincibility, speak to animals, superhuman strength, the power to change your appearance at will. I'm pretty fucking egotistical, so I'll do the appearance. I'm pretty vain, so let's do that one. A troll can go berserk. A troll has gone berserk in the headmaster's studies at Hogwarts. It's about to smash and crush and tear several irreplaceable items. And in which order would you rescue the objects from the troll club if you could? A nearly perfected cure for dragonpox. Select a position for the cure. Wait, what? What's the other ones? What's the other items? I don't know what this item is. I guess 2? A student records going back 1,000 years. That sounds like doxing a little bit. So that'd probably be the last thing. A mysterious handwritten book full of strange ruins. A mysterious handwritten book full of strange... Okay, I would do the chicken thing, the thing first. How do I go back? How do I go back? This would go second. This would go first. How do I do that? Oh, I wouldn't know what... Yeah, okay. Reorder, yes. Reorder the items. Yes, this would go first. This would go third, and this would go... Yes. All right. How would you like to be known to How would you like to be known to history? The great, the wise, the bold, the good. It's either great or wise. Great or wise. Let's do great, cause wise you could be wise, you could also be an asshole, but the great is like he's a badass. All right, let's do that. Which nightmare would frighten you most? Standing on top of something very high and realizing suddenly that there are no hand or footholds nor any barrier to stop you falling. Dude, falling is one of the worst feelings when you're sleeping. Okay, and then being forced to speak in such a silly voice that hardly anyone can understand you and everyone laughs at you. I hate being laughed at without me being on the joke. Waking up to find that neither your friends nor your family have any idea who you are. That sounds kind of like a blessing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They forget who you are. It's like you can restart a brand new life. And I at the keyhole of a dark, windowless room in which you are locked. That sounds kind of nice, to be honest. That sounds like what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to get away. So let's go with the falling one. Yeah, falling sucks. Okay, choose a category to continue. Owls, toads, or cats. It's either Illuminati or Egyptians. Illuminati or Egyptians. Let's go with Illuminati. All right, barn owl, towny owl, snowy owl, screech owl. Snowy, bro. Snowy looks so sick. Okay, the fat, red toadstools that appear to be talking to each other. Oh wait, what's the question? You enter Enchanted Garden. What would you be most curious to examine first? Got it. A bubbling pool in the depths of which something luminous swirling. A silver leaf tree bearing golden apples. The statue of an old wizard with a strangely twinkling eye. It's either the wizard thing or the luminous pool. It's either the pool or the... Oh, you know what? Now that I see the pool, I'm going towards the pool. I'm not going to go inside the pool, but I'm looking at the pool first because it's just like... It's bigger, right? It's just more... It's more luminous. It's brighter. It's not like this little thing. Okay, let's take that. Left or right? Oh, shit. I feel like this is like a mindset. Like, I'm more creative, right? I'm more creative. But, yeah, I'm more creative. I'm going to choose left. Okay, so let's do that. The sorting hat is ready for to make a decision. Okay, here we go, guys. W Illuminati. All right, here we go. Oh, what? Yo. That's crazy. I didn't think I'd be that. Mascot. Okay, you probably know that some of the Slytherin's most renowned members include... Yep, but did you know Merlin himself was a Slytherin? Okay. That's cool, but why? But why was I a Slytherin? I don't understand why. I don't understand why I'm not a Slytherin. Like, why I'm a Slytherin. How about that? Why am I a Slytherin? Looks like you're not a centrist after all. I guess I'm not. I'm pretty... when I'm onto something, I'm definitely going to stand my ground on it. I'm not very passive on that part. Okay, Slytherins are cunning and ambitious. That's definitely me. Slytherin is definitely me. That's definitely me. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That was fun. Slytherins are also pretty cocky, so that's got you pegged. Definitely cocky as fuck, bro.
So you have to remember the climate at the time. Democrats were taking over capitals all the time, having protests, sit-ins. They've done it recently in Michigan and Georgia, and it's not called a terror attack. And I've seen your description of what you were saying, and I understand it from the time that we're all angry. They've stolen the election. That's confirmed. You're called there. You go there. I saw you a few days ago in a clip. Describe this if you could repeat people that information, because I believe it. I buy it.
Yeah, so as you know, the January 6th protest, this is something that I almost wasn't even going to attend, because at January 6th, it was basically over. The whole plan for Stop the Steal, there were all these different deadlines, and the goal was to get the state representatives in the state capitals to take back the power to appoint the electors that would go and make the decision. So there were all kinds of deadlines about certifying the election, picking the slate of electors, all these things. By January 6th, we knew it was over. We knew that probably Mike Pence was not going to do this option where he would not read some of the votes, was one of the, that's why Trump had a big problem with him, because the play was that he would decline to read the votes from the states where the result was contested. We knew that wasn't going to happen. Now, for that reason, I said, I don't even know if I'm going to go on January 6th to the speech on the ellipse, because that was the event. For those that were in the know, January 6th was supposed to just be Trump for the first time was working with Women for America First, Stop the Steal, all the big organizations that organized the protests. For the first time, the White House was collaborating with them to do a big thing.
And by the way, I can verify all that because I started the event a month before for the date down the road in a smaller area. The White House calls, they said, hey, we want you to run it, because people that don't know, they can't use federal funds for that. They wanted me to work with donors and move to the ellipse and raise like $5 million. I said, I'm not doing that. I handed it off to the Republicans. I said, I'm not involved. I've raised $350,000 from listeners. I gave them the money, didn't keep a cent of it. I raised from listeners. And because I didn't want to manage something like this. I can't manage a dinner party, much less that. We weren't going to have Trump at our event. We were just going to have a rally as we'd had many before, the months before. One of them had 500,000 people there. So absolutely, I can vouch because I was there for all of this, and I can also vouch that I said this the first day. I don't think Trump was involved, and I'm not interrupting, I just want you to integrate this in. They wait. There's like 1 million people there. Only 30,000 can get in the cordoned off area at the ellipse.
I don't think they stole the election, to be honest. I think they just lost it. I think. But thank God they lost it, all right? To be honest, because I feel like Trump needed to see, or the Republicans needed to see, how bad it can get with the Democrats in office, you know, or like vice versa. Like from what I remember, Trump's first administration, he was picking people in office that he didn't really know. So then when he lost for re-election, all the people that he had in office that turned their back against him and saying he was a whack president, he was able to see that because he lost, right? Because they turned their back. They pretty much like buried him under the bus. So then when he came back into office, he was like, fuck those guys. I'm going to pick some new guys that really fuck with me. I think that's a good thing that he lost, to be honest.
They're all over the Washington Monument, everywhere, red hats everywhere. I'm sitting there in the front row. It's freezing. You were in there too, right over from me. And then halfway through, Trump goes, march peacefully to the Capitol. The Secret Service opens the gate in front of me. I go into the backstage. They take me through, and they open me out on Pennsylvania Avenue and go lead it. I go lead it. Hundreds of thousands had already marched. By the time I get there, it's total bedlam. The internet doesn't work. The phones don't work. Everything's jammed out. There's so many people, and I had no idea what was going on. But then I had these special operation guys, former Delta Force guys and people. They're like, it's obviously staged. You know, we got Antifa up there because they'd already gotten there right when it was starting. They said, they ran down to meet us. They go, because the phones wouldn't work. They go, you got to get down there and tell them not to go in. This is a setup. So I run, as fast as I can with no Achilles down there, get hit with tear gas, trying to stop people going in. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to give the backstory of that. And clearly I then felt, not by Trump, but insiders knew there was a setup working inside the administration. Bill Barr, we now know, who was on the ground and caught organizing it with the Democrats, that we were all set up and we were all told to come there. You, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, all of us to be set up. I think that's a 2 + 2 = 4. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, and so my experience on that day is that I showed up in a suit and tie. I didn't come in like commando gear because we really thought we're going to this speech. And then that was it. That was the speech, and Trump was going to talk, and then we were all going to go home. I think we even had an interview planned with you. I think I was planning to talk to you doing a show.
We had rented the media roof across from the Capitol, which anybody can pay $5,000 and get, by the way, for the day. And so I'm above the Capitol, and I was doing all these interviews. And then the left said, indict Jones. He was perched on a building to run the attack. No, I'd rented that place 3 or 4 times before. I was right by CNN and ABC News, but absolutely, we had an interview that night booked.
Wow.
And so point being is like, I didn't have any
I didn't
plans
know
to
that.
even be at the Capitol building. I was going to go to the Ellipse, watch the speech. I had a VIP pass. I was literally right behind you. And what changed is that, as you said, and everyone can confirm this who was there, Trump said in the speech, we are going to go and peacefully make our voices heard outside the Capitol. And there was like a rumbling that you and Trump were going to lead the march, and you left early. And I said, oh, that's the program. I guess we're all going to the Capitol. And you're right. The phones weren't working. Anyone who's been to a baseball game or a concert knows how that goes. When you're in a high density area, the cell doesn't work. So we said, okay, well, I guess we're just going to the Capitol. So we walked to the Capitol. By the time I got there, the barricades surrounding the Capitol complex on the lawn had already been taken down. At that
To be honest, the only reason he won the first time is Hillary. I remember so many memes saying it would give Bill the access to interns again. Yo, that's hilarious. I wasn't into politics back then, but that's fucking hilarious, dude. I wish I was into politics as much as I am now. That's hilarious.
Point, which had happened earlier in the day, the protesters had already gotten onto the lawn and were on the steps of the building. So I arrive at the Capitol, and I'm there with like a group of a half dozen people, fans of mine. We're taking pictures, we're hanging out. I don't think we ever got closer than 300 feet from the Capitol. We were on the lawn. And somebody came up to me and said, oh, you know, you got to give a speech. You got to give a speech, because this was the program. You and I had done this at all the state capitals. I was in Lansing, Atlanta, Harrisburg, Phoenix, D.C. And we gave speeches with megaphones at the governor's mansion, at the state
you
capitol.
climb up on the highest statue or object, and you speak to the crowd.
Right. We did it in D.C. We did it at Million MAGA. There's pictures, videos. So somebody said, oh, this is an historic day. You got to give a speech. I said, well, find me a megaphone. Somebody, some orbiter, you know, some fan of mine zips off, grabs a megaphone, brings it back. We look for the highest place. And that statue that you see me on there, that was Peace Circle. You could look at a map of the Capitol complex. It's 500 feet from the building. So, you know, I think that's a big part of the missing context. As people look at that video, they see the speech, and they imagine maybe I'm like guiding people into the building. I was 500 feet away from the building. And so when I'm saying, you know, take down the barricades, there were barricades.
I was a kid when Bill was in office, 88, baby. But I remember his actions. But Trump versus Hillary, my left-leaning female friends sent the memes to me. Even the Democrats were like, "Yo, Bill's about to get the Bill's about to get the cracking again if he gets a win." That's hilarious.
Barricades on the lawn, which people were already on top of. There were barricades on the lawn in front of the Peace Circle, which that is what I was referring to. And I was saying, because the idea was, this is what the chatter on the ground was, we were going to protest on the lawn until they came back in session and gave Trump the election. The idea was this was like a protest. So when I said, you know, we're going to hold the Capitol, it was like,
And
we're
I
not
said
going to
the same
leave
thing.
until...
I said the same thing the weeks up to it. I said, we're going to peacefully, that was even, I think we even had a website, peacefully occupy the lawn until they actually have an investigation in Congress into the election fraud.
Exactly. And this is how this stuff goes. People don't realize when you're in the heat of the moment and there's no plan like that, there's just like this chatter that goes on the ground, and you get these ideas, and, you know, it's like a mob thing. And so you're there, and we're saying to ourselves, okay, we're here on the Capitol complex. Mike Pence did not do what Trump wanted him to do. They shut down the session where they were counting the electoral votes. And we said, yeah, like, we're not going to leave until they, you know, choose Trump in the election. That's the basis of the speech on Peace Circle. But then we start to get word that the cops are coming in heavy. We get word that special forces are coming in. They're throwing tear gas down on the lawn. So me and the whole group I was with, we said, let's get out of here. And so people like to say, oh, you sent people into the Capitol, but nothing happened to you. Every single person that was with me in that video did not get charged. That whole group of people, and by the way, we weren't on restricted grounds. The only people that got charged were people that were in the building.
But Nick,
or
they
on the
did
mezzanine.
try to charge you. That was even, and I had the same lawyer, so I mean, and you've released the documents. They did subpoena you. They did come after you. They did call you before the Jan 6 committee. We have Bill Barr, and we should get to, and I don't want to spend the whole night on that because we've got a lot more to hit, but I actually have the clips of the whistleblower with the documents, you know, Nick's name, my name, General Flynn, how they want to take us down for Jan 6, and then 2 years later, 2023, because you were still seen as a supporter of Trump then. And, you know, I already showed this Friday and already showed this Monday, but this is all right here. Project Veritas Part 2, whistleblower Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump and block his political comeback. But the bigger story is, and his, what they thought was his biggest supporters, and Nick is on that. You don't.
I remember that day that some of the people that I know, they were gonna go. They were actually gonna go to the Capitol from California, drive over to Washington D.C. and stand at the Capitol. And some of the people that, like, some of their family members are like, "This sounds like a setup, dude." And I'm like, I mean, I was skeptical. I don't know what's going on, but I was like, yeah, it does kind of sound a little iffy. You know what I'm saying? So they ended up not going, and thank God they didn't go, because everybody got arrested for how long? Like 6 months, no trial, something like that. I remember it was like a while they were like in jail. The Jan 6ers.
Don't get on the Bill Barr hit list if you're Ray Epps. Notice Ray Epps was not on the list.
Right. Well, and not only that, as you said, I got my bank account frozen. I got put on the no-fly list. It's in the New York Times that they were considering hitting me with charges. I got subpoenaed in 22. And, I mean, maybe the coup de grace is that I testified under oath that I never interviewed with law enforcement, which I did not.
None of my friends went or even thought about going. They were all, you weren't going to make it home alive. That is fair. Yeah, it smells sus. It's something's weird going on.
Never talked to the FBI. FBI never came to me, never talked to any law enforcement or intel agency. And, I mean, look, my bank account got frozen, and this happened without them even telling me. Eventually, after 2 weeks, the bank told me who froze the money. They gave me the phone number of the lawyers that put the legal hold on the account. I sent it to my lawyers immediately. My lawyers called the U.S. attorney, and then they said, you're under investigation because of this Bitcoin transaction, which I discussed on my show on Monday, and your placement on the Capitol complex. Now, when I got subpoenaed a year later, after the money had been frozen and unfrozen, after I got put on the no-fly list and taken off, I testified under oath I never had any contact with federal law enforcement in that way. And as you said, I mean, Ray Epps, for all that people say about him, he got charged also. So it's like people say, well, you know, nothing happened to you. Well, things did happen to me. Well, then they say you didn't get charged. Okay, but people did get charged and then informed. Brandon Straka got charged and informed. Ray Epps allegedly was an informant. He got charged too. So you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. And in my situation, they were interested in me because I was a stop-the-steal person. I think they investigated because they thought I was in the building because of a case of mistaken identity. They investigated because of this Bitcoin transaction, which was unusual. And I think they came to the conclusion I wasn't in the building. The Bitcoin transaction was, although it looked suspicious, it was benign. And then I think ultimately they dropped it. And
well, we also had like MSNBC and CNN running images of you and I and others in different state capitals like Georgia, where we were invited and were peaceful and occupied peacefully. And they show us walking up the stairs, and they would show and go, look, there they are in the U.S. Capitol on J6. So incredible levels of disinformation.
Absolutely. And in my case, a former friend of mine, Baked Alaska, he was live streaming inside the building. There was a screen grab from the stream of some other guy standing behind him. And there were posts that went viral saying that that was me. We were wearing completely different outfits. I was wearing a suit and tie and a long coat. This guy was wearing a scarf and a hat and a jacket. But people were saying in tweets that got millions and millions of views, that's Nick Fuentes in the Capitol in Nancy Pelosi's office. And I literally went to Mark Randazza. I have the contract of a famous defamation lawyer. I think I paid him $10,000 to investigate if I could pursue a defamation case against a couple of left-wing journalists, against a couple of media outlets that made that claim, because I'm sure that ran up the flagpole to the DOJ, and they said, oh, that's the picture. Then that guy got arrested. Like, that guy was identified and arrested later. It was a case of mistaken identity.
I understand. That's why I can clear you. I mean, look, I'm not God, but 99%, I believe you. I was there. I know you're a lawyer. I know the inside baseball. I know what you went through. It was all real. I get it. People say, oh, they're attacking Jones. It's part of the cover. It's fake. No, it isn't fake. It's real. So we just spent 40 minutes on this. It was very important. I really want to get into the issues we kind of agree on and disagree on in the time we've got. So just let me budget out time. Nick, how long? Are you good for another hour?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So far, they're talking about this campaign against Nick Fuentes, and we've discussed it a bunch of times with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and I kind of hold them separately than, let's say, like the Charlie Kirks. Charlie Kirk, let me say, I hold Candace separate. Candace has been calling this stuff out for, in my opinion, for a little bit longer than Tucker, and Tucker's questioning it. Charlie Kirk, obviously, he's in a league of his own. He won't question anything when it comes to Israel. Recently, him and Megyn Kelly were complaining because they received backlash because they just didn't go along with the get along as much as Israel and Netanyahu and the powers that be over there, or I should say over here as well, wanted them to. When it comes to Tucker and Candace, I don't know what their issue is with Nick. To me, it just seems very corny. It seems more rooted in jealousy. As I was looking, as I'm looking back at my notes, I don't really think that.
I think because he discredits them a lot. So they're like, let's discredit him back.
Tucker or Candace thinks that Nick Fuentes is a Fed. And the fact that Nick brings up Joe Kent, this is the person that Tucker and Candace, based on what Nick is saying, are friends with. I believe Tucker's a little bit cooler.
Let me get the review part 2. Oh, wait. No. Sorry. Review part 2. There's a 2-parter. There it is.
It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there.
We just spent 40 minutes on this. It was very important.
I don't know why, but I like that jingle. I let it play every time.
I really want to get into the issues we kind of agree on and disagree on in the time we've got. So just let me budget out time. Nick, how long? Are you good for another hour?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, let's do another hour.
Okay, but I'm going to give you the floor right now on the bigger issue. Just as a media analyst, smart futurist guy, very good at predicting things. You predicted Trump would really have big trouble with Israel trying to control his administration. I don't think they're totally controlled. They're certainly trying, so we've got to deal with it. I want to get into Iran, how they're trying to get back in there. You're, from what I've seen, saying Trump does want a police state. I disagree, at least so far. I want to get into all that with you, but what is it people want to know personally, what it's like for you to have everybody pile onto you, which I would have told these people, actually did, some of them. I said, if you think somebody's bad, you understand doing this to make them bigger. And so, I mean, this is exploded, and it's only getting bigger now. And I'm one of the few people that's experienced what you've gone through multiple times, like many times, but I wouldn't even say. Well, I've had deplatforming and big blowups that have been as big as this. Okay, there's not many people other than like a Trump or even a Tucker getting fired at Fox that have had a blow up this big. So clearly, I don't think you started this blow up, and I can see both sides of the beefs and everything. But just what is it like for you now? And then just saying you're not Nick Fuentes, but you still have your brain. What do you think is going to come out of this? I think it's the right move, a smart move, a good move to say, hey, just debate me or have a friendly discussion. And I think it needs to happen. And I'm talking about Tucker specifically. And, Elon is a regular listener. We've had some big, long discussions on air. I think you should talk to Elon. I think Elon should talk to you. He hasn't done these spaces in a while. They get hundreds of millions of views. I don't know why he does it, or listeners. One with Trump got over 1 billion. I think people want open discussion. We know they want it. and populism and freedom is the hottest thing. Why not take it to the next level? And of course, I'm not somebody that courts raw controversy for no reason. I don't go around and they call it infighting, but insert myself in these things. I try to be the peacemaker. People I think are overall doing good work, even though they disagree on some things. But I know they know this. The people that have attacked you, they've been hurt by it. You've been helped by it. And they're doing good work. I would like them, like when Trump 40 days ago came out and said, there's no Epstein, shut up. I said, I've never seen any evidence you really involved in anything bad. Why are you doing this? You need to stop it. It really hurt him in the polls. So that's my philosophy, is targeting the globalists and focusing on them. If Republicans or populists do something bad, I will report it. But the Democrats are so much worse. I spend 90% of my time on them. Trump does this stuff, shove about Epstein. He killed himself. He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't human trafficking. He had no accomplices. There was no blackmail. I'm like, do you understand this is the biggest Streisand effect ever? Day one. I got huge backlash from the, kind of Israel lobby that says, we're MAGA, you're a panicker. The same groups that attacked me when I was, against going to full war with Iran. So I could see it was synthetic coordinated attack. And then I pulled back from that. And the day one, I said, Trump's behind this ordered cover-up. And then 2 days later, it's like, yeah, I'm the one. Shut up. It doesn't exist. Well, I mean, of course I knew that. Then I made calls and confirmed it. Then I made calls to talk to folks that were in long meetings with him. Then I learned a lot of stuff I'm not even allowed to say. I halfway leaked it. They stuck his wife in there and other lies, pissed him off. They knew what they were doing. And you can give your own opinion of where you think this is going. It subsided some. If you'll just stop saying, don't talk about it, it'll probably go away. But I'd like to get to the bottom of it. So that's kind of again, stream of consciousness on that. So take some time here. I'm trying not to interrupt. And what is it like personally for you? And then where do you see this going? And then do you agree with me that the fact that so many people across the political spectrum in the world are really galvanized around you and supporting you, that is not just because you're smart and well-spoken, all the rest of it, because people piled on you, which is so obvious, and people want the underdog. They can see it. I've experienced it myself. But this is also a bigger symbol of the total collapse of faith in the system. But people that still try to blame both sides and act like they're anti-establishment, but then still kind of go after whoever they see on the leading edge of intellectual resistance, that's just not smart to turn the country and the world around. And we want to overcome all this bullying culture and intimidation and just break it. And you're doing that, and I'm trying to do that. And so it just doesn't seem wise. But it is a big, complex amalgamation, so I can see how people see you as an easy target, but not in this climate. I mean, I mean, obviously, I agree with a lot of what you say. I think you're smart. I've liked you. I've known you for 8 years. And you're a popular guest on my show, and I'm all about good thought and discussion and debate and, what the listeners like. I'll give my ideas, you give yours. But, I mean, I could see years ago, and I told the crew, I said, Nick Fuentes is going to get bigger and bigger. And I said, I've tried behind the scenes to influence you some, saying, hey, you might want to press the gas so much or you're going to kill you. But that's not because they're telling me to do that. I'm getting money to do it. I'm like, fly too close to the sun here. But it doesn't matter. That's where we are anyways. And so it's kind of damn the maneuvers, go straight at them. So that's my rant. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how it feels, it's a little bit frustrating because I feel like for as long as I've been doing my show, for as long as I've been doing this, and as much as people talk about my motivations or who I really work for, this kind of stuff, all I've ever really wanted is for people to listen to my ideas. It's just to listen. And what I think really resonated with people when I clapped back on Tucker, it wasn't even so much, I spent 3 hours talking about the CIA and all this stuff. The part that resonated was the very end of the show, where I addressed the personal attacks. Because in addition to him insinuating that I work for intelligence or something like that, he said I'm a weird gay kid in a basement from Chicago. I'm a child. And in the clip that went viral on TikTok and Twitter, I said, did you forget when you did that part of your show, that you're always pandering to the young white men? Isn't that kind of like the lead? Isn't that like the story of the past 10 years? Is the young white men who have no meaning in their lives, who are struggling to get married, who can't afford a home, who don't feel any allegiance to the country. They don't feel like they're a part of the country. There's no society. There's no social fabric. It's like, did you forget that, you know, those are the people that you purport to care about, that you're trying to win over, you're defending their interests? And in the clip, I said, I am that guy. Like, I'm of that demographic. I'm 26 years old. I was born in 98. I'm Generation Z. I said, and like the Turning Point students, the chapter leaders, like all these people, I went to a selective school. I dropped out. I come from a working class family. College was very expensive. I got canceled because I supported Trump in the 2016 election. You know, he woke me up. Like, I went through all these things that they're always talking about. I'm facing these challenges they're always talking about. You know, anything that you want to say, incel, racist, Trump supporter, like, I represent all those different kind of facets of the, you know, disaffected young white male. I lived it. I am it. And so for Tucker to kind of have that tone, and for people like Candace and Elon to just hit me now with like a new attack. For 10 years, it was, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're this. Now for it to be like, oh, you're a Fed, you're a basement dweller, you're this. It's like, you know, I, as a representative of this generation, am just saying the same thing we all are, which is, you know, listen to us. Instead of trying to put us in a box and speak for us and say, we're going to do a show about Klarna, we're going to do a show about the affordability crisis for homeowners, why don't you listen to the source? And, you know, with all these different things, he's making accusations about Joe Kent. I have a very solid response to that, but they won't listen. You know, Tucker says I'm this hateful, crazy extremist. Why do you attack these people? I have explanations for this stuff. I do a show about it for 10 years. And you would think, you know, clearly what I have done, this movement that I've created, it has become a phenomenon. I think that's inarguable. Whether you love it, hate it, whatever you think about it, it is widely talked about. It's become a phenomenon. You would think that people would look at this and rather than dismiss it or hand wave it away, they might try to understand it. You know, if there's a charismatic guy in the middle of it who is, you know, kind of beating the odds against the censorship and all this, created this diehard following, this cult-like following, you would say, what's the appeal? What's the basis?
And people coming to your house to kill you. We covered it, and almost no one else. When he got killed by the cops after trying to kill them, he comes with a gun. I'm here to kill you at your house while you're on air. And then almost no one even defended you.
That's crazy.
That was really chicken shit.
That's wild right there.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. You were one of the only people that covered it, so God bless you for that.
Well, why not? They're coming after me too. I'll expect you to. I've told you on the phone. Hey, I expect you to defend me too, buddy.
Yeah, you said bail me out of jail, and that you got to bail me out, right? So it's goes both ways, But yeah, so I mean, you know, I'm the subject of all this controversy and all these
white guys
things,
helping white
and
guys.
You would think that they would just take a good faith interest and just sort of like a journalist, just kind of jump into the middle of it and say, what is this all about? You know, why do these young people gravitate towards him? And for 10 years, they just don't get it. They're just not listening. You know, even Charlie Kirk, who isn't really a part of the latest drama, but Charlie Kirk, you know, he got a caller that called into his radio show. And
Us brothers gotta watch each other's
and
back.
the mother said, you know,
Yeah,
my two young
yeah.
kids, they're really anti-Semitic. I think they're following some online personality.
Definitely that.
You know, she's obviously
Most
talking
def.
about me. And Charlie Kirk says, oh, you know, that they're going down a dark path. You need to tell them that blaming Israel for your problems is victim culture. And I listen to that and it's like, wow, it's been 10 years and you still don't get it. Like, you still don't get why people like me. You still don't get why people are angry. You still don't get it because you're not listening. You're not taking it seriously. And you almost wonder, you know, when will they take it seriously? I think they're taking it seriously now, because I would bet you 2 bits that when Tucker and Candace did that show and made this dishonorable drive-by gossipy attack, I'm sure they talked about it beforehand. You know, do you want to cover this? Yeah. How are we going to treat it? I'm sure when they did this little drive-by attack, they thought that they were going to get away with that. They were going to do this little snipe on me. They're going to make me look like a jerk. They're going to humiliate me, and people are going to pile on to me. I would bet you 2 bits they had no idea the kind of backlash they would get from that clip. And you wonder, are you taking it seriously now? Now that you see the ferocious reply, not just from me, but on TikTok and from my supporters, are you going to take it seriously now? And are you going to listen to what we're saying? Because I don't even want to be praised. I don't want adulation. I don't want the glory. I just want people to listen to the arguments. And that's really it. For as much as people like to talk about my sexuality, people like to talk about my home situation. Do I live with my parents? People talk about all this stuff. It's like, I want to talk about the war in Iran, as you know, because we covered this together. It's like I'm intensely interested.
Right. And I want to take a break and come back and get into the meat and potatoes now and where we agree, where we disagree. But they're mad. I'm not talking about Candace and Tucker and all them, because they're trying to stop the war too, and in Ukraine. But the system is definitely mad, and we did get hit by the Israeli bots, you and I and everybody else, who were just covering it and saying this is crazy. And then that is what's weird. Then after all of that, which boosted what you're doing, boosted what I'm doing, but I just, like you, just cover whatever's interesting and I think the truth, that you are just a bellwether of the overall mind of the public. And that's where I'm always at, is where is the public? And I don't then go where the public is, unless where the public is where I'm already going, which I pretty much got them there in many cases. And so I see someone avant-garde who is having success, and I see all the anti-white, anti-Christian racism that's so intense, and who's running it, the ADL. I'm not a guy that just hates Jews in general, and the person that is a victim and blames them for everything, because there's different groups, different things going on, different power blocks. But when you have the ADL trying to pass federal laws to arrest people that criticize even Zionists. I mean, I played
bullshit.
Last week. I mean, this is tyranny.
See, when it got to that point, that's when I was like, bitch, what the fuck are y'all doing? Trying to put restriction on what I can say anywhere. I didn't sign no government contract. I'm not in the government. I don't work for you guys. I'm a civilian. How the fuck are you going to put that on me? Now, I get military and government workers can't talk about it because you're under contract with the government. You work for the government. You can't say certain shit. I get that. I don't fucking work for them, okay? So, I can say what the fuck I want. I should be able to. That's what pissed me the fuck off. That's what woke me up. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on with the right now, you know?
When you've got them already, their counterparts passing those laws, B'nai B'rith and all them in Europe, this is the model. And so the left, with all its tyranny and its love of Islam and all its censorship, is bad and has been terrible and done more censorship. But now Trump claims he's against censorship, but more and more is bringing in the ADL. I've got clips of it saying they're basically running this angle of censorship that's totally unconstitutional here in the United States. And you've got governors in Texas, everywhere saying, if your city has a resolution against genocide in Gaza, you will pull all state funds. And if you're a contractor with the state for school lunch program or building highways, doesn't matter, you've had a 20-year contract, we're canceling it. That is
how crazy is that, bro? How crazy is that? Overnight, too. Overnight.
1,000 times beyond McCarthy, and even more intense than the left, and is beyond cancel culture. It is the social credit score, China, literally here. So that is a big, big problem. So I want to talk about that with you, where we agree on that, where you think Trump's going. Iran, they're trying to bring that back. And then I disagree overall. I don't want to mischaracterize. I haven't had time the last day or so to watch the show, but I saw some of the tweets and statements, you know, where you're like, I don't know. Before I thought it'd be good to have National Guard deport the illegals, but God, this could be for Israel to enforce on us. And but then I understand constitutionally what he's doing. That's why these courts have been upholding ICE, upholding the Guard stuff. And I know why Trump's doing it, because the Democrats are planning to burn the country down. That's in Podesta's own plan. So while we're busy focusing on Trump and we're pure and we're making sure he does it all right, and I get it, I do it too, are we ignoring the Democrats that literally already tried to put you and I and everybody else in prison and tried to kill Trump? So I want to go to break, People can follow him on Rumble at Nick J. Fuentes. Also on X. You can follow me at Real Hog Shows on X, Infowars.com/show. We also have a stream on Rumble as well. And actually tune in, because I get up at 4:35 a.m., so I rarely, because it usually starts late. I do a lot of times once my younger daughter goes to bed. I'll sit there sometimes in bed and I'll go, oh, nice intros, nice promos. But I'm like, it's 10 o'clock, it's 10:30. And I get that's how he does the show. And I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then I get up in the morning and get ready, and I'll have it on the background. But I catch a lot of the show. I catch the clips. I mean, I'm a listener because he's got witty humor. A lot of it's snarky. I've been watching him for years, off and on. And I do the same dark humor. I've cut back because they misrepresent it. And he'll make some sick joke, and they go, I'm just joking. They cut that off, and then they can take 8 years of stuff and put a string of it together and misrepresent it. And that's what's going on now. And there's new attacks on Nick that I'm seeing that are even nastier that I'm not going to go there. And I predicted to Nick a week ago. I said, I think that'll be the next attack, and that's where that's going. And so, if these people aren't being given talking points.
Hey, chat, you better stop making me look so misogynistic. Now, I know I am, but stop making me look like that.
It's just a piling on. Then Nick keeps saying, meet with me, talk to me, have me on. You'll get top ratings. What are you scared of? I mean, you'll get more views in a Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson debate than the Putin. I mean, I guarantee you, if they had that debate next...
I do it to myself enough. Don't encourage me.
Next week. Let's say next Thursday here, or where I'd host it. Or I guarantee you, 100 million views on X, 100 million on YouTube, Rumble. I mean, it'll be... Why would people not want to give the public what they want? I mean, I'm salivating. Here's the deal. I'll get ratings if it aligns with the truth and it helps people. I don't do stuff, bite, the heads off bats to get attention like Ozzy, though I like some of his music.
Ozzy.
My point is, I can do stunts all day and get ratings, but I want ratings tuning in to hardcore awakening information. You understand? I don't want just ratings. I want ratings on truth. And this is the most obvious, currently the hottest debate would be Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. So,
yeah.
So
I would say, yeah.
I've talked to Tucker here and there. He's really busy, so am I. But I'm going to call him tomorrow and just say, man, you got to do this. And
yeah. Somebody threw a bat thinking he thought it was a rubber bat, and he just unconsciously bit its head off. Yeah. That's so funny, huh? I saw the story on that. That shit was funny as fuck. He's like, I thought it was a rubber bat. Like, some dude. He had to get like a rabies shot for like 10 weeks straight, bro. He said like he had to get like 10 shots for 10 weeks. It was like the worst thing ever. Oh my god, dude. Some fucking like a tweaker, right? Some tweaker picks up a bat on the ground of a fucking roadkill, takes it to his show, chucks it on the fucking stage. Dude, this guy made dude, whoever the guy was, I wish he was like able to say I was the guy that threw the bat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was the tweaker that threw the bat. You made this guy extra famous. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. He talked about the taste. Ugh, Imagine being in the middle of your concert and there's just a bat blood coming out of your mouth. Dude, tweakers always do unbelievable, impossible things. How the hell do you get an unconscious bat? I thought it was like a roadkill or something like that. Like, he just found it on the road on the way. He was walking over to his concert or something like that. So strange, dude. Tweakers, you're right. Tweakers get the craziest things on the ground. I don't know. I didn't read about that. Yeah, it was like, I think it was like in like the tribute when he passed away. I think I think it was his wife that talked about the story. It's just so funny, bro.
And if it's not here, wherever, I don't care. I'll be there. And I'd like to be on a panel, maybe a 4-hour panel discussion.
Did he continue his concert? I believe he did. Like the one here, dude walks 10 miles each way to grocery shop. Wow. That fool must be skinny.
Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, give them what they want. My God. And
that's just one way too, bro. We're talking 20 miles total. Ozzy talked about it. twitching in his mouth. Ugh. Ah. Oh my god, dude. Feeling something alive in, like, not alive, but like twitching, actively dying in your mouth. That's fucking insane. I can only imagine how far he walks to get his drugs. Yeah.
Where we need
hey, that's dedication. That's dedication to the tweak. All right. To Integrity Farms tweak. That just reminds me of the tweak from South Park.
Oh, not eating ourselves alive. I wouldn't even call it infighting.
The bat was still alive. I didn't know that. I thought it was roadkill. I thought it was already dead. The bat was alive and it twitched when he bit. I got the heebie-jeebies. Ooh, ugh. Ugh.
Call it a fratricide, because that's what that is, killing your own people.
Yo, you should talk to that boy, the tweaker guy, and get him into cross country marathon running. He'll probably get like sponsored like crazy and make a lot more money. Drug addicts, if they direct their objectives, could be the most productive and dedicated people in the world. They'll just be drug addicts. yeah. You gotta provide the drugs though as a means to make the production happen. They, instead of getting paid in money, you pay them in the product. You reward them with drugs, and they'll do it. They'll do it. Now, wait. But now that might look bad in society because you're perpetuating their system. Technically, that's what our government is doing. Yeah. That's true. But they put them on the streets. They just give it to them. And they just leave them on the street. It's not good. Hell no, he's nuts. Like, he stands there and yells at the stop sign and walks off and turns back yelling at it again. Yeah, that reminds me of LA, bro. Just all the homeless people tweaking out and just talking to themselves, and I'm like, dude, all these people suck. Our government funded $2.1 billion into heroin, calling it a safe supply. Our government is literally a drug cartel. I mean, why do you think we want to take out the drug cartels in Mexico? Do you really think it's because they want to keep our civilians safe from the fentanyl? I swear, I bet you that the fentanyl is by our own government so that they can therefore blame China. They can blame China for all the killings of fentanyl, and then they take over the drug cartel and make more money off it by monopolizing it way more. Fentanyl is the psyops. Did I just break the psyop right now? That just hit me right now. We just broke the code, bro. We did the war on drugs right now. We just did, dude. Call me Reagan in this bitch.
And so that's
I'm
what
hiding.
I said. And there's also some fear, out there that, what if Nick is some deep, operative or whatever, because he's, going after Trump. But look, Trump's doing it to himself. So you can't blame Nick or me, because I know I'm good. I mean, I know I'm calling the shots when I'm freaking out over Trump blowing his feet off, and blame me for all the trouble Trump just got. That's bullshit. Trump's enemies are my enemies. They want to put me in prison. I need Trump to succeed. But I will not sell out my values or my integrity for it. And when I go after Trump, it's to get him back on the straight and narrow. I don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Nick's reached that point. We'll debate that because I disagree with him on that after the break. Right now, stay with us. Want to thank the crew for putting up with me and the great job they do. All right, it is.
He tried to run at me once when I was walking all three dogs till I threatened to drop the leashes. I wonder how many words in total Nick has said. Not very many. I think they're doing like 15-minute segments each. Like 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes.
Is a good actor, a good person, a person that means well. And for 26, he's forced to be reckoned with. And I just want to, everybody out there fighting tyranny, stay alive, and moving the Overton window back to liberty and away from political correctness. But we do have something we really disagree with. At least from what I've seen, some of the things you've said recently, though I haven't done a deep dive on it. And, well, tell us your view on Trump federalizing D.C., talking about Chicago, talking about New York, talking about L.A., National Guard, Rapid Reaction Force. What do you think Trump's doing? What's your concern?
Well, in principle, I agree with it. In principle, I love it. And I said this on my show last night because Chicago is a dump, New York is a dump, and it's worse. It's violent, it's filthy, it's chaotic, and all the rest. And under normal circumstances, I would have loved this announcement from Trump that he's moving the police in to take over. But the announcement about D.C. and federalizing law enforcement there, it was accompanied by another announcement about a DOD memo where they say they're going to form this new, it's like a quick response task force made up of 600 National Guardsmen on a rotating basis that'll be stationed in Arizona and Alabama. Now, to be fair, this is something that they talked about doing 5 years ago. They talked about doing this in 2020. You got 300 National Guard in Arizona, 300 in Alabama, and that way they could rapidly deploy a federalized, like, military force into a city in the event of civil unrest. I don't think it's a terrible idea by itself, honestly. And like I said, it's been around for 5 years. But in principle, my concern with this overall is that right now, we clearly have an occupied government. Like, that's just not in dispute. When you look at what Trump has done with these other departments, at Department of Education, they're breaking the backs of Columbia and Harvard and installing anti-Semitism monitors. At State Department, they're revoking citizenship for people that criticize Israel. At all these other departments and agencies, at FEMA, they're saying, we're not going to do search and rescue for a hurricane if your municipality was involved in the BDS movement. And so it's like there's clearly...
You're not going to get saved from a natural disaster if you talk shit on Bibi Netanyahu. That's fucking insane, bro. It reminds me of during the Biden campaign, or the administration, sorry. During the Biden administration, I think there was a hurricane, right? And they said if they have a Trump flag in front of their house, don't help them. There was like rumors of that, remember? It was so weird. Like, and then now we're doing it to like the Republicans that are talking shit on Bibi. That was so fucked up, dude.
Like a pattern here, which is that they're finding ways to use these statutes and regulations and things to benefit a foreign country and this particular people. That is symptomatic of
So
influence.
stupid.
So when they say they're going to deploy the National Guard to do a law enforcement role in Chicago and New York, do I think that means that necessarily they're going to come to New York and arrest everybody that criticized Israel? Not necessarily. At the same time, I can't cheerlead an expansion of the security state when, as such, that state is being used to support the interest of a foreign power. So when I look at it on an axis of like more government and less government, ideologically, I'm a statist. Like, in a vacuum, I'm in favor of a bigger government. But when the government is occupied, I have to lean more towards a libertarian.
I see. That's where I don't like Nick Fuentes' idea of government. I need it to be smaller. I'm a liberalist. Okay, this is like my stance on all the little labels. I wish in my heart, I really wish in my heart I'm socialist, right? I wish everybody can get something, like we could all help each other, right? But I know people are fucking greedy, and once you get that shit to the top, they ain't sharing shit. So the like socialist in my heart, capitalist in my head, all right? And then liberal, I don't want any government telling me what I can and can't do. So limit that shit. So that's why I'm a liberal in that sense, right? So I'm a little bit of everything, ideas here and there. I really wish we could be a socialist state, but human greed is such a corrupted mindset that it just takes over and it doesn't work. It never works. And especially when you take away the guns that you have nothing to protect yourself with against the tyrannical government, and they could do whatever they want. That's why I need the guns. But yeah, anyways, I just want to state that.
The libertarian side of that axis, the libertarian pole. And so that's where I have these mixed feelings about it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the worst idea, but you do get a little nervous when you see the Palantir being deployed, when you see the National Guard coming out, all this stuff.
Fuck that.
And at the same time, you see every department is putting out a statement about anti-Semitism. It's like, okay, how long before this is going to be used against Nick Fuentes and Dan Bilzerian?
compound bow. I have one and use it for target practice daily. That's actually really dope. I would love to learn how to do archery. That'd be kind of sick. Just feel like the feudal age with the fucking long bows and shit. That'd be kind of sick. But obviously, I'd rather have a gun because it's just way easier to kill somebody, right? Or defend myself. I should defend myself.
That's always my concern. So I'm wondering, I mean, what do you have concerns about that, or do you kind of get where I'm coming from? Because on some level, I think we're on the same page that in principle, this is a good thing, but maybe in practice, it might leave something to be desired.
Obviously, as George Washington said, fire, government is like fire, a dangerous servant, a fearful master. So clearly, I'm the guy making films, writing books. When the Democrats, and also Bush, father and junior, were literally trying to train the military and police for gun confiscation, martial law. That was confirmed. So we were really worried about that. But it was the military itself that would leak the information to us and say that was wrong. So these forces aren't being trained for political enforcement or gun confiscation or any of that. We're locking down the Capitol and putting up fences for 6 months, all the rest of it. It's for when the Democrats, under the Podesta plan, said if Trump would have won in 2020, they were going to have blue states secede.
Equal opportunity is far greater than equality. It promotes a society to flourish and prosper. If everybody gets everything, there's no motivation to do anything. And the problem with the whole socialist communism ideology is that it always leads to a government that does not have interests of the people in mind. Yes, I agree totally. There's no like, where's that? What is that? There's no need for ambition at that point, right? There's no need for new ideas. There's no need for innovation, is what I meant to say. There's no need for innovation in that kind of mindset, because why are you gonna try to do extra for something like we're not Japanese, right? Not once in history has communism worked. And also our American mindset is not like the Japanese mindset, right? It's a great concept. It's a beautiful concept. It's like utopia concept. But we are not that people. We were born out of rebellion, all right? We were born out of war and terror. We were born out of pillaging and raping, all right? We were born out of colonization and getting conquered and conquering. We were born out of religious, right? Religious, what do you call it? Religious practices being shunned upon, and we were trying to move out, right? All this crap, all this bad shit. And then all of a sudden you want us to be all utopian and all lovey fucking dovey with everybody? How does that fucking work? We're not built that way. All right? Our genes and our DNA is not, religious persecution. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, there's no fucking way this kumbaya shit's going to work over here in America. We're the #1 military industry in the world for a fucking reason. All right? We step on people's necks. So that's, as an American, that's what we do. And we're good at it. Why would the fuck would we change that? Now, if we had Japanese mindset, right? They are very family name honoring. So they want to bring the goodwill of the name up. And I can see communism and all that stuff working for them because they are very they think other than themselves most of the time. Like, life is greater than them. Well, America, life is all about me and us and who the one individual is. So it just wouldn't work over here for sure. Like, you'd have to it just wouldn't work. Maybe in Japan.
Blue cities create civil war. They produced a movie that came out last year, big budget, civil war, showing a Trumpian figure with all the minority groups together with the military and a black sergeant, woman executing a Trumpian figure. That's their dream. They've been planning uprisings. They've been planning this, and now that Trump was able to win, they've re-implemented this plan. So I think towards your...
Yeah, catch-22. Great in theory. It's hard to put in place. Yeah. It's really hard to put in place.
Point, but disagreeing with the actual motive. This isn't just for rounding up illegal aliens. This isn't just for basic riots. They know the Democrats are planning some really big stuff. And quite frankly, rapid reaction forces of 500, 600 people are nothing.
My preacher actually said stuff like that. He said, I wish society could be all kumbaya, but as a people, it's all me, me, me. Yeah, as an American, I would say it's all me, me, me. You know, as an American for sure. I'm trying to think of other countries that are like more. Which theory do you think is true? Which theory do you think is Connie in the chat of YouTube saying which theory do you think is true? Which theory are you talking about, brother? Which theories are we talking about right now? Sorry, I'm like on a tangent right now, so you caught me mid tangent on the YouTube chat. Anyways,
all governments of any size have these for civil unrest or outside groups.
No, you're good. You're good. I just don't know which theory you're talking about. Sorry, I just saw the YouTube chat right now, so I didn't get to see that just till now till I looked up. My bad, bro. Are you talking to Kick? No, I'm not talking to the robots. I'm talking to YouTube chat. Someone, hey, Connie, if you want to come to the Twitch chat, but if you want to stay on YouTube, that's totally fine too. If you want to rephrase your question because I don't know which theory you're talking about, you can do that. We are the robots.
We're trying to trigger coups. And you see all these Democrat judges being overridden by appellate courts saying, oh, Trump's a tyrant. He's not allowed to deport people. It's right in the Constitution. So people said, oh, how do you know?
We are AI. We are a conscience. We are the Borg. We are one conscience. No, I was kidding. Of course you're not talking to the robot. You are the robot. I am. I'm an NPC.
Oh, he's not a tyrant, a king. Well, I mean, I can read the Constitution. I've had lawyers on about it just to double check. And of course, that's all been overridden. You argue, and I think you're right, he could be doing a lot more, and it's anemic, but he was handed a emasculated, castrated enforcement system. So I see Drudge that is literally run with the Democrats now.
Your high school teacher sounds black as fuck. Who is we?
Trump building police state, watch and monitor citizens, widespread discontent.
Real quick, male or female voice for the expert of the book? You know, I listen to girls more. Like, I pay attention to the women more when it comes to, actually, I don't know. Either one. Just pick one. I'm messing around.
Among National Guard, Pentagon Plans Reaction Force. I don't see it as that, but even if he uses it for a good reason, as a Band-Aid for all the crime and the Soros DAs and all the rest of it, then when somebody else comes in later, it's in place. And then to your point,
you know what's funny? For information, it's easier to take it with the girl, but when it comes to music, I don't listen to any female artists at all, bro. It's so fucked up. I'm just listening to the dudes talk shit on the fucking music. Everything but music, I'll listen to in a girl's voice for sure.
I mean, I agree with like 30% of what you're, I mean, I see the concern. But for the way it's being deployed, I know why Trump's doing it. He asked for 10,000 National Guard for January 6th. He could have overridden the mayor.
You could say they said blank, and her reply was, who is they?
Bowser. He could have overridden Milley, who threatened to resign. He didn't because they were setting him up. So I don't see it from Trump, that perspective. He's the guy letting nonviolent offenders out of prison and stuff, even more than Democrats. I see it as him trying to warm the military up and get the public ready for the globalists to try to trigger a civil war, which they say they will do. But one headline in Drudge is true in that they are watching the citizens. And I've not defended Palantir. I've explained. Microsoft, Google.
When it comes to music, it's because you're aiming to relate to the art. And when it comes to art, especially at a psychological level, we resonate with men better than we will with women. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
And of course, Amazon, when you look at government funding, have thousands of % more money from the government currently than Palantir to surveil, to spy. 15 years ago, Alexa, let's stay in your house. Bezos running the CIA servers along with Microsoft. Now, Palantir's coming in, as they said they would, to offer Trump a system to try to watch all of that and give him control, like one ring to rule them all. So I'm not defending Alex Karp. Very troubling, at EU summits. I helped target and surveil everybody across Europe and Germany and the UK and put them in jail for their right-wing speech. My biggest fear is a Christian nationalist throwing me out of a window. So he's definitely got his hard on for Christians. He's definitely got that classic ADL bent to him. But you see Teal over there backing Trump and other things, and I know his background, obviously, In-Q-Tel.
Right, like most of the artists I listen to are male. That's interesting. Why do you think that is, Becca? As a female, I thought you would be listening to girls, But I'm interested in your
and Poindexter
thoughts.
And all that you've covered lately. Everybody's, well, I'm not taking your thunder away. You've done a great job presenting it, but that's old news. I'm glad people are discovering it now. But that's all true. My issue is I just see them as a rival group trying to come in and get control. And the idea that they're going to put us under a police state, they're going to put us under a surveillance state, it's already there. I want to dismantle the whole thing. And then my focus is, let's focus on Karp part of the time. Let's also focus on Eric Schmidt of Alphabet. Let's focus on those guys too, so people get the wide-ranging view. But it is true that all of these systems they're bringing in can be turned on the people. And it is true that Palantir has this big enemy list, so why don't you speak to that?
I guess I would just say, in general, when you say the global...
It probably is more so to the lifestyle than one lived rather than the gender itself. I do listen to a few female artists, but like as a young kid, I liked pop and the boy bands. Then from there, it went to pop punk, then rock, then metal. Okay. You went to like a rebellious stage through like the pop to the metal, like to the harder shit. That's interesting. Okay, for sure.
Are coming after
fuck pop.
Trump.
No, I'm just kidding. I like pop
don't
too.
know who you're talking about anymore, because who attended Trump's inauguration? It was Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. It was all the big tech and little tech people. I saw a clip from CNN the other day, and a presenter on CNN said Trump is brilliant. He's a mastermind. And what were they talking about? His cover-up of the Epstein files. So it's like CNN and the New York Times, it's like room service journalism for Trump. In the middle of this giant scandal, he's walking on the roof and they're saying, Mr. President, why are you on the roof today? Like, who's even resisting Trump anymore? Silicon Valley and Wall Street are in bed with Trump. The Democrats have no resistance. The law enforcement, little tech, these up-and-comers like OpenAI, Palantir, Anduril.
I was listening to Guns N' Roses when I was 10. Damn. You were a man at 10 years old. You were a womanizer at 10 years old. I fucking love it.
These guys are all behind Trump. So I just kind of look at the whole situation.
You were dating Pamela Anderson at 10 years old.
I survey the whole landscape and I say,
Hell yeah. Had access to my mom's records. That's a good lady. She knew her music. I love that shit too.
Don't see the resistance. I don't see Trump anymore as a figure that is actually against the globalists. That's a big reason why I turned on him.
Ooh. What he said right there, I agree with too. I feel like he's becoming part of the globalists. Let me repeat that real quick.
Or as a figure, I just don't see the resistance. I don't see Trump anymore as a figure that is actually against the globalists.
What a line. I don't see Trump no more as the figure against the globalists. And I feel like, yeah, he's kind of becoming the globalist himself. He hasn't talked about them in a while. He does talk about the United Nations, NATO. He does talk smack about them. What's going on? What's up?
So I probably have to stay up late.
Okay.
To finish my schoolwork.
Yeah.
But Raccoon needs to go to school tomorrow. And so she wants to. I asked her if she wanted to sleep with you or my dad.
Yeah.
And she said you.
Me? Okay.
But it would have to be some like at least 9:45, 10 o'clock.
9:45, 10 o'clock? Okay, so like an hour? Yeah, give or take. Okay.
I would say a little bit sooner because it takes her some time.
Okay. Alright, sounds good. Alright, cool. My mom loved Eminem. I was listening to Eminem by 6 and 8. I shaved my head and dyed it blonde. Dude! You were like in the real Slim Shady music video when everybody was like, had the, I forgot what kind of necklace it was, but it was a very distinct necklace, and then they blonde their hair. When I was 2, my grandpa taught me the lyrics of It's Only Rock and Roll, But I Like It by the Rolling Stones. Dude, you guys are living fast. You guys are living fast and die young.
That's a big reason why I turned on him. He's supporting the war in Gaza. He's clearly unwilling to restrain Israel. He's in bed with little tech and big tech in Silicon Valley, and J.D. Vance is the nexus for that. He cut the corporate tax rate and won't deport the illegal laborers on behalf of Wall Street. You know, he's trying to get Jerome Powell to cut the interest rates to charge up the economy. It's like, so I see him basically as part of the system. So when he's bringing these troops out there because of the Democrats, it's like, I think in reality, the National Guard's being deployed because there's going to be a second Iran war. And when there is, there's going to be protests. And I think that's the real reason they're being sent out there. No different than how they shut down Colombia, and now they have like an anti-riot security presence over there. They banned pro-Palestine protests on these Ivy League campuses. They're sort of employing the same thing in the major cities. So I guess me, as a former Trump supporter, I was there in 16. As you know, I was there in 20. I was up there right up until roughly 2022. I just don't see him as an opponent of the system. I see him as basically part and parcel of the system at this point.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
That's
I
a
agree.
valid
I agree.
concern, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you. But just because people go to his inauguration, just because Bill Gates acts friendly, but behind the scenes is fighting Trump, doesn't mean they're on board. These are a bunch of snakes. That said, there is a lot of capitulation to Trump because populism is rising all over the world. He's seen as a figurehead. He's having a lot of success. And so I do see that. But if we're going to take the government over, at some point, these institutions will be taken over.
The volume is really loud when it comes to video. I turned it down just now. Is that okay?
Over. I'm not endorsing all that's going on. I'm saying it's a paradox. But guys, go to Nick Fuentes' X. He doesn't do a lot of posting there, so it'll be easy to find. I saw the clip. I actually had it on the list today that I had to go to an emergency court hearing. But it's not all of CNN's doing it, but this particular host, you know, is a big Trump supporter, and most of what he shows is true. But he is sitting there going, it's wonderful. Interest in Epstein has plunged. Trump is a genius. This is amazing. And again, the optics of that are, well, if you're not involved in it, why the hell is it good that interest is plunging? So, Nick, let's talk about Epstein, because this has been bizarre the last 40 days. And I actually don't see interest in it subsiding. I don't think it's peaking like it was a few weeks ago, but this is a smoldering fire. What do you think's happening here?
Well, I think that when Congress comes back, they're going to be calling more attention to it. It does seem to be the case that the public is.
Should I try to find a sexy Mexican voice to make it please your ears? No, I actually don't like Latinas that much. I like snow bunnies and Asian girls, but not the Fabi kind. Like, how do you want more peace? Like, not like that, but just like with a little bit of an Asian persuasion to it, you know? Not Fabi though. They have to be Americanized. Americanized Asian. I don't know what a snow bunny accent is. A snow bunny is just a white girl. It's just the street name for a white girl.
Has largely moved on, and we talked a little bit about this. It's like any news story. You give it a couple weeks, and no matter what it is, people are going to talk about something.
Heavy, thick Chinese accent. Got it. Yo. It might make it hilarious and might make me go through it more.
Else. And with the internet, these things move very quickly. But that clip, it's almost like
media, no good. I'm just kidding, I'm fucking around.
like from a movie. It's almost like a parody. You have, and look, the guy is Jewish. You have a Jewish presenter on CNN saying, all-time low, 89% drop in interest in the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. Trump did it again. He's a genius. He covered up the Epstein files. And it's like, is this real? Is this like an AI creation? Is this a Gemini creation? The idea that, you know, you would show that to a Trump supporter 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it would almost be hard to believe that it's real, that that's a real clip. And you think about the way it was in 2016, it was like 9/11 every day. I mean, you remember, you were there, you had him on your show. You're like the veteran of 2016. In 2016, we were being punished every single day. They were apoplectic. It was like Trump getting elected was like the Holocaust. It was like they said the worst thing that happened to America since 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. And now it just feels like this cakewalk.
And that's the paradox is we've been through so much to support Trump. He's doing a lot of good. And you can say, well, this CNN guy, this is like bad satire. Like you said, when I saw it myself on another feed. I saw it on your feed a couple days ago. And I watched it like 3 times, and I'm like, this isn't even real. Does this guy even understand what he's saying? And this is supposedly a Trump supporter. He's a genius. Look at how his cover-up has worked. And I'm sitting there like I'm almost being involved in a conspiracy if I was a Trump supporter, which I am overall still, and I went, yeah, great, he's really done that, when he's the one that came out 40 days ago and said, shut up, you're not my supporter, I don't want your support.
That was wild.
He didn't, you know, he committed suicide and all this. It was so insulting. And then again, last week, he did it again, saying it's all a big hoax after he said, okay, release the information. I mean, this is just crazy. So what is Trump thinking? Here is one of the most bizarre clips ever from CNN.
You know what I really like? The victims of the Epstein list, they said, I think they're going to hold a press conference and just said, they said they don't give a fuck about the courts. They're just going to hold a press conference and name the names themselves. Like, no court. Just fucking go on a podcast and just, or whatever the fuck they got to do to get the most views heard, and just say the names on who fucked them, essentially. I hope they do that.
CNN a few days ago.
I would say that this is, from at least a political point of view, quickly turning into a dud of a story. What am I talking about here?
Which is wild.
Which is wild.
This has been for 3 weeks now.
Exactly. Take a look here. Google searches for Epstein down 89% versus just 3 weeks ago, falling through the floor. It is no longer the top term searched alongside Donald Trump's name. That's been trading off between Taros and Vladimir Putin, with obviously the meeting coming up later this week. But at this particular point, the American people's interest in this story, it's quickly becoming something of a nothing burger.
So out of sight, out of mind, maybe, is applying here a little bit. But has it impacted, have you seen numbers that have this has impacted Trump's popularity, favorability, anything?
No, not really. I mean, take a look here. Let's take a look at the overall numbers. Trump's approval rating in July of 2025, it was 45%. It's still well within that margin of error here at 44%. And you compare that to where he was in his first term at this point, he was at 37%. So he's 7 points higher, very much in a different political universe now, significantly higher in terms of his overall approval rating than he was at this point in his first term. And more than that, among Republicans, his approval rating is near a record high, hovering right at about that 90% mark. So no, he hasn't lost any of that base. And when it comes to that center of the electorate, he's basically holding on there. And his overall approval rating, 44%, is pretty gosh darn good for him, considering where he was at this point in term number 1.
What do you think is behind it? Why there hasn't been more movement?
Yeah, why hasn't there been more movement? I think this is pretty simple. Take a look here. Nation's top issue is the Epstein case. This is the number of respondents. This isn't the percentage of respondents. This is the number of respondents. In our last CNN poll, look at this. 0 respondents said that the Epstein case was the top issue. How about among independents? 0 independents said that. And among Republicans, and therefore overall, just a single one. So yes, there used to be a lot of interest in this story, but the bottom line is that even amongst those who had high interest in this story, it wasn't something that they thought was all that important. And as I said at the beginning, the interest in this story has fallen off the table.
Which also, when you look at this and you compare it to just the attention that Capitol Hill was giving it, Donald Trump supporters were giving it, congressional committees were giving it, it is...
I'll never understand how people can be that evil that they Epstein people.
Incongruous.
I would just say this.
Human
Trump
trafficking
has
is
some
terrible.
of the best political instincts of
be right
any
back.
politician I've seen. And on this particular issue, you see it full well and clear, because he has been saying, you know what, this is not an issue. And it turns out that a lot of the American public actually seem to agree with him.
If you dream
Wow, so Bill Clinton and Bill Gates, the head of Harvard, and all them in the middle of those kids, and the prince over in the UK, just this is great instincts. Let's just totally do a 180 and just shove about it. Then you ask what's coming next. And so I've seen you be critical of Elon, though he's done a great job on X with free speech overall. But I talked to people that were in the meetings. That was a real split. And he came out before all this happened 4 months ago, and said this Epstein thing's going to be a big deal. It's going to be covered up. And then I was told by people in the White House, yeah, it's because the CIA and Mossad are involved. They asked Trump to national security. But then why would he come out and Streisand affect all of this, Nick? Because this is wishful thinking. Anything big peaks and then subsides and then comes back as an even bigger wave. And it's not a prediction. It's a guarantee. The Republicans have already said, yeah, we want everything subpoenaed, including from the Democrats and the DOJ. So they're CNN hoping nothing to see here, like the Naked Gun, nothing to see here. That's not going to happen, Nick.
I love that guy's accent. I love the presenter's accent. It's very interesting. He's like celebrating. He's like, look, no one cares about Epstein, with this like interesting little accent there. As far as
let's say this. I've seen the guy a lot. He's not normally that excited. He looks like he's having an orgasm here. He's like, I'm surprised he didn't spike a football.
He was spiking a dreidel, I think, so something like that. Spiking something that's a little on the nose. But what's interesting about the Elon connection, which is super important, and you brought this up because you're super perceptive on this stuff. Everybody forgets that Elon Musk brought this up back in June and said that Trump is not going to release the Epstein files because he's in them. And I wasn't the only one. You did, and I also said, I wasn't the only one that noticed that he also had a black eye when he said that. He's in the Oval Office for the last time with a giant black eye, which Trump even made a mention of. Trump said on Twitter, or he said it, I think, to the press, he said, I offered him makeup. He turned it down because he wanted everybody to see his black eye. So they're drawing attention to this. This was the last meeting. Now, shortly after the last meeting, as you said, it was a real split. And Elon puts out this tweet. It's like a nuclear bomb. Trump is in the files. What happens a week later? Israel starts a war with Iran. The war goes on for 2 weeks. The war ends. Netanyahu comes to the White House to celebrate on July 7th, 7/7. The day before, the DOJ pushes the memo burying the Epstein files. And so it's like this weird bookend. Now, there's some new information on this. There's this weird bookend where you have the Epstein scandal starts a week before the war. Or I suppose, they kind of spike this with Elon Musk's comment before the war. And then they initiate this next round of it when the DOJ buries it with the memo.
Wow.
When Netanyahu comes to the White House to finish the whole thing.
FBI personnel were told to flag Epstein files mentioning Trump. Senate. Wow.
With their celebration about the Iran war. There was a piece in the Times of Israel last week where a rabbi in Israel said, and this is an unsubstantiated claim, but it is interesting. It was published in Israeli media. They said that the Israelis, of course, were not happy with Trump because Trump bombed Iran just once. He bombed Fordo, he bombed Natanz and Isfahan, and he did not destroy the stockpile of enriched uranium. Now, the Israelis expected that they could draw the United States in to hit Iran many times, to not just destroy one or some of the facilities and partially damage others, but that they would attack Iran's energy infrastructure, their conventional assets like their missile launch platforms, their government buildings, things like that. Israel was not happy that the United States did this limited strike and then called off the whole war.
Well,
restrained
Nick, I don't
Israel.
think that's speculation. I knew that from the White House insiders. Israel wanted full regime change. I mean, they called for it.
Absolutely. It was in Foreign Policy magazine just yesterday, and they were calling for it the whole time. And the point is, they were disappointed that Trump didn't deliver. They were mad that Trump did not do it. Now, there was this rabbi from the Times of Israel who said the reason the Epstein scandal happened was a punishment against Trump for not taking it all the way. And you almost wonder, because of course, the Epstein scandal, it does have a lot to do with Israel. Pam Bondi, who is the attorney general, she is a super Zionist. That is something that was claimed without any evidence, but you almost wonder, is this being deployed as like a political football? Is this being deployed in a certain way to hurt the Trump administration? Because like you said, you have called a lot of attention to the strangeness of how it's being handled, how the White House has kind of been fumbling this, how they've really, it's almost like they're trying to make it worse for themselves. And so you wonder if there's some connection going on, because for me, all eyes are always on Iran. They want us to fight this war, a war that they know that we do not want to fight. Like, there's no public support for a protracted Middle Eastern conflict. Donald Trump himself has no appetite for such a war. And so it's like, how do you get America, with all these timelines in mind, the snapback sanctions, the midterms, Iran rearming themselves, the breakout timeline for a nuclear bomb, is like, how do you get America into a war quickly? And it happens coincidentally with this Epstein scandal. I can't shake the feeling that they're related in some way. Now, maybe that's crazy, but I feel like there's something to do with that. And then to see it in the Times of Israel reported over there, it was just a little bit too on the nose. It was a little freaky.
I mean, obviously, Israel wants us to go to full war with Iran. This was just phase one. Where do you see that going? And why do you, gut level, you make the joke, I say that, but it's true, think
Yes,
Trump did
it
the
is.
perfect Streisand effect? He can't be that stupid.
Money
Why
is
did
a
he
hell of a
act like
drug.
that?
I think he just made a mistake. I think if anybody fumbled it, it was the Department of Justice. I think that Trump, he hates it. You could tell. He's angry. Like, you could see it in his face. When Elon Musk put out that tweet, I think it was back in June or May.
I remember that.
When Trump was asked about it at a luncheon about an hour later, you could read it. I mean, this guy does not have a poker face. He was livid. He was seething. And I think he still is. Every time it's brought up, like, he cannot handle this. So I don't think it's necessarily Trump that is Streisand affecting this. I think it might be the administration. It might be elements inside the government. I think that somebody spiked it and now they don't know how to deal with it. Or maybe Trump knows that there's something in there that's going to be problematic for him in some way. Obviously there is, because he ordered the FBI to look through the files. They told him that they found his name all over the files. We don't know what's in them. So it's hard to say exactly why, you know, the psychology of Trump, what's happening inside of his head. I think that's organic. I think that's just his real reaction. I think gut level, the big play is they want to go back into Iran. This has been reported widely. The clouds are gathering all over again. The snapback sanction deadline is at the end of August. I think Israel is going to go back into Iran. And I think they expect that the United States is going to come in heavy and it's going to be a major war. That's kind of where I see this going. And maybe getting rid of the Epstein.
I agree with you, Nick. So I got you on here to debate you on the police state martial law thing, but then I actually heard what you had to say. I overall agree with you. But that's all my intel. And I predicted this. I said they're going to say Melania it was a hooker for Epstein, which they already recycled 8 years ago. And they're going to put in the Jane Does that were fake. Trump got pissed because he'd already made a deal with the CIA and Mossad to just kind of shelve it. They still came back and stung him in the ass with it. He throws a fit about it because that's the deal he's got, which I'm not agreeing with that deal. People go, Jones agrees with Trump making that deal. Look, I've been read in on it, okay? Let's just say people close to the president. Because it's so many public officials, so much big stuff, it would bring down the stock market, he believes. I'm not saying that's the right way to go. I said they're going to stab me in the back. Then it turns out they put his wife
did
in
he
there.
just say?
Now they admit it isn't true. Now she's going to sue him for $1 million. Hunter Biden. You can see this. And again, folks, Trump's 79. He's very smart in many ways, has some good instincts, but he's super busy 20 hours a day. They just hand him stuff. And Kyle Serafin's a big FBI whistleblower. He gets proven right all the time. 99% of the time. He said 4 or 5 months ago, they were raiding the FBI and New York for not giving over the documents. The feds were raiding the feds. He said, you're not getting it, and it's a cover-up. And he said, and now they got the PR people, or the same people that were there before. They're going to tell the DOJ what to do. They just go to press conference and PR function and dinner after dinner. They're just titular heads. Bongino, Patel, Bondi, literally just Fox News host. And they're setting them up with stuff with this Epstein file, saying it's all there and it's all going to be BS on Trump. He literally called it all, and they just took that giant trap.
Wow.
And so people, the Q people, God love them. I know JFK Jr., he's really the president, and Hillary's in Gitmo. They're having a big problem now, but they just get more delusional, and they literally think Trump has like a 5,000 IQ. Like there's Trump, Q, and then God. Okay, like God's junior than that. And
that's hilarious.
I wonder what it's like when they go to Dealey Plaza 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and JFK Jr. doesn't show up, and they just, oh, there's indictments. Everybody's in Gitmo. And that's a whole other subject. I said there wouldn't be indictments the first administration. I've heard from high level, and so has Matt Taibbi and others. They said, no, we've been told we've got to, even if the cases don't stick, though they have a lot of evidence, our constituents demand it.
Are they wrong?
I totally agree with. So that's a whole other subject. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as the the Q stuff is concerned, I mean, these people, I feel sorry for them. It's going to wind up like Heaven's Gate or something like that. I mean, it's pretty terrifying. I've seen it on Twitter. I get it all the time, the 5-dimensional chess and all that. I think that the big concern as far as the Epstein files are concerned is that there might be an impeachment. I think that they're playing on this because the Democrats are pushing so hard for a disclosure. They're coming back from the summer recess very soon. Like you said, they're going to subpoena all the records. They're keeping the pressure up. And you almost wonder if they're hanging it over his head for a potential impeachment when they lose the midterms in 2026. It's almost a given that the Democrats are going to take the House after the midterms. It's very rare that the Republicans, or rather the incumbent party, gains seats in the House. I think it's only happened once or twice in the last 80 years. So the Republicans with a 2 or 3 seat majority, they're almost certainly going to lose the House. And then you think about the map inside the Senate, and you can find 3 or 4 Republicans that would impeach Trump. So between a Democrat House, you're going to get maybe a few defectors in the Senate. There's like a real risk. And it reminds me a lot of what happened after January 6th, which is that after January 6th, Mitch McConnell was using impeachment, holding that over Trump's head to prevent him from doing something extreme. Everybody was worried that in that time between J6th and J20th in 2021, Trump is this lame duck. He's not accepting the results of the election. People worried he was going to do something radical. So Mitch McConnell said, there was, of course, the impeachment in the House. He said, I will let the vote go forward if you don't play ball. And I feel like that's how they've kind of been controlling him in some sense, to the extent that I think that Trump might have good intentions or might want the best for the country. To the extent that we can still believe that, you have to look at him as somebody who is under such immense pressure and really inside of a trap in the interregnum with all these charges from the DOJ, Georgia, and New York. And now in this second term, it's almost like double jeopardy now with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. So you have to think that's in the back of his mind. You have to think that that's what people in the White House are thinking. Certainly the Democrats cannot wait to impeach him when they come back. And take the majority, with this no kings stuff that they're doing all the time.
Oh yeah, the no kings.
They're probably going to impeach him 100 times when they get back.
The no kings.
So
what happened to that?
Is maybe the protracted
like
long-term play on the whole Epstein thing. If I were to take a guess, I think that's what Trump is concerned about. I think that's the Democrats' angle, and you got to wonder then, who does Trump have to answer to prevent that from happening, and who runs the GOP in the Senate? It's pretty obvious who's running the show over there. They signed a letter a couple months ago saying Iran can never have enrichment. That gives you a pretty good idea of maybe what the ask is to forestall some kind of attack. So that's kind of my instinct on all that stuff. Maybe that's out there. Maybe that's outlandish. But just kind of paying attention how this has evolved.
I don't think it's outlandish. And what's crazy is I've studied the Epstein, one of the first people to ever cover it. It's mainly Democrats and a corporate blackmail money laundering operation. Trump would never go to Russia and get pissed on. It came out it's fake. He doesn't join the cult. He takes the cult over. Okay, he wants to be the apex guy. I don't mean that in a bad way. And I know the inside baseball. He never did any of this stuff. So him doing this, he just said yesterday, I'm meeting Putin in Russia, in Alaska, and folks, I at 51. Occasionally when I'm exhausted or tired and pushed too hard, like a few weeks ago with Nick, got up at 4:30, worked all day, a hard workout, did a bunch of shows, went home, hung out with the family. They got pizza and wings, and I'm on a diet most of the time, but I pigged out, and people are like, he's drunk. No, I was literally falling asleep. It was like a late night, 10 o'clock at night, I was gone. Folks, Trump does interviews at 2 a.m. now.
That's
okay?
wild.
He sleeps
2
3-4
a.m.
hours. All right. And so at 79, yeah, he goes and plays golf. A lot of the time he's really smart, but he goes in and out of gear. And we're seeing more and more of it. And I don't say this like the Democrats undermine. They said this 8 years ago. It wasn't true. for back then 75, it was 73. Incredible stamina. Got great Scottish and German genes. But I'm telling you, folks, let's not lie. He's 79. His legs are swollen. His ankles are swollen. His hands are swollen. The guy's a bull, and they can't get him to stop working. They come and brief him. Oh, sir, there's a missile fired at 2 a.m. And he's on most of the time, but he's having to delegate to everybody. And so I'm not here being an apologist for Trump. All I know how to do is tell you from my research and what I see what's happening. And
he's
that's
yoked.
The final thing, Nick. And anything
He's
else you want
just
to say? I
yoked
appreciate
out.
the time. It's been an interesting discussion and debate. How do you quantify or how do you do this? Because I'm not a lesser two evils guy, but also, if I'm in one ship that's only got a small leak and the other ship's sinking, I'm going to stay in the ship that's got a slow leak and isn't sunk yet. I get to land in. So I see the Democrats that want to put us all in jail. They're open.
Why the black guy don't have a helmet?
Open pedophiles, they're open devil worshippers, they're openly trying to bankrupt things. They're pure evil, they're part of the globalist operation. Sure, they see Trump winning, so some of them are acting nice to his face, but he's fundamentally changing a lot of their systems and, Bitcoin in the National Reserve and 401ks and, just he goes on and on and on and on and overriding these federal judges and dominating them and getting a lot better appointments in. And it would take hours to talk about the good. I mean, it's 90+%. And I understand there's been some betrayals and the direction's starting to go the wrong way. So if it keeps going that way, it gets bad. But how do you separate that? Because listen, I have people not just coming to me talking about Nick Fuentes and all the stuff's going on. That happens a lot too. But the other thing I get is, I get it. I was at Barton Springs. I went twice this weekend because my 8-year-old daughter wanted to go twice. I don't go very often, but we went Saturday. She loved us. We went back Sunday. And I was mob, shaking hands, young, old, black, white. But I had like 5 people come over and go, when are we going to get indictments? When are we going to get this up? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hey, whoa. They were like, I'm not in charge. And I get it, like I said, on the street everywhere. I even see the Newsmax reporters and stuff saying, hey, we're getting mobbed by people, demanding this stuff. So I want to try to, stop the Democrats, block them 100%, try to get good Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others in, build our beachhead, support Trump where he's doing good, try to put pressure on the administration and expose bad actors where we can, where we've already had a lot of effect. We know it has an effect. To me, taking the ball and going home, I'm not saying you've done that, but saying, I'm done with Trump 2 years ago. You warned of the Israel thing. You were right about that. I get that. Isn't it when it's the only thing we got, try to then even more jump on it to try to get it to do what we want? I mean, it's threading the needle there, but do you get where I'm going?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And I think I used to be more of that mindset in the very beginning in 2017, 2018. But look, it's been 10 years. Trump came down the escalator 10 years ago. And I look at where we are now in the White House, and it's like, look, they backed down on the deportations in February. In February, they said it's not going to be mass deportations. And by the way, I know you are 100% right. When you say ICE does not have the personnel, that is a fact. They do not have the personnel. They do not have the infrastructure, the funds. They're spinning it up. It takes time. I get all that. You're 100% right. But from the top in February, they said, we're not going after the farm workers. We're not going after the construction workers because that's going to hurt the economy. And the situation with Iran, we go from we're not going to get involved to we are to we're bombing them to, well, we're going to support regime change maybe if it comes from the bottom up. And it's like here we are 10 years later and NATO has gotten stronger. NATO's spending more money. We're bombing Iran. Greater Israel is literally within sight. They're annexing Gaza and the West Bank. You have the Epstein files being covered up. There's no accountability for the Democrats, for Clinton, Obama. There's no hearings. There's no charges. There's no nothing. And so it's like 10 years later, you got to say, look, this is not the revolution that was promised.
Right.
This is not the accountability, the anti-corruption, the make America great again. We didn't get what we were promised. Now, there's kind of like two things that we can conclude from that. In the first place, we have to express our dissatisfaction. I am not of the mind that it is helping anything to be on Twitter, like, and I'm not saying this is you, but other people say, no matter what Trump does, we have to support it. You have been critical when it matters. There are so many people that say, no, just trust the plan. It's all going to work out. No, at the minimum, we have to express our dissatisfaction.
Complicit.
If Trump will ever deliver anything good, it is because he needs to please his base. He needs to please his base to win elections, to win the midterms, to have political capital. So at the minimum, we need to charge him for that and say, if you want our support, you got to make us happy. That's one. But two, this is maybe the more radical side of me, says, I feel like even the idea that we're in this game where we're fighting for the personnel and, we're on Twitter, please, Trump, don't do this. Please, Trump, do that. It feels like we're on a hamster wheel. It feels like a big diversion. It feels like we're negotiating with ourselves. And we're sort of saying to ourselves, oh, we're in this fight. We're fighting this uphill battle. But it's like, let's be honest. Trump has cucked out every time it has mattered. In the first term, we didn't get a wall, so we got 10 million illegals 4 years later. In the first term, Trump made the vaccine, and then we got the vaccine mandate. It's like this stuff keeps happening. And my kind of game theory is to say, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is insane. If we keep doing these things and the chance of them succeeding is zero, let's just try something else. That's why I have always been a proponent of saying, let's just stay home. Let's have a protest candidate. Let's run somebody like Ye.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, and I want you to finish up and elaborate. I just want to say, I totally agree with you. And
damn, he got Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a groiper. He's a groiper.
Because I've been online a long time. I can tell the groups. I can go check it. We know we had groups check what I already thought was true. We had big Pentagon bot farms, Israeli bot farms,
Alex Jones,
right-wing bot farms, and then the Ben Shapiro's and the Mark Levin's.
He convinced Alex Jones for real on that one. He was like, holy shit, what do I say? Yeah, I agree.
And all the usual suspects come out instantly when Israel was cranking up to try to drag us into war with Iran a few months ago, and say, you're not real MAGA, you're imposters, and you're pro-Islam, and you're really leftist. And I immediately saw them flag all our accounts. I saw our traffic get driven down, which bounced back up because people saw through it. And I saw the attack calling me and you and everybody else these traitors. And they can say, oh, Fuentes is really a liberal. Fuentes is really CIA. I don't believe that. But I can tell you this guy 100% isn't. Because I know me. I know my mama and daddy. Okay, and so the same people doing that to him were doing it to me. I'm not talking about Tucker and people now. That's why it was weird to have them come in later. This was the bad guys. And Trump, don't be a panicking and all this stuff. Hey, buddy.
Do you know the concept of allegorical collectivism or oligarchies? Is that the one that what's his face keeps the allegorks, the allegorchies? I forgot his name. He's a really famous dude. Ah, fuck, the socialist guy, the old guy. What's his name? He's always asking for donations and shit. I once again ask for your donation. Oh man. The guy that's with AOC. I forgot his name. I know it's like at the tip of my tongue, but it's right there. But yeah, I've heard of him saying it.
We're holding your feet to the fire.
Pretty much it's like the elite, right? The elites or something like that. Like they keep the money to themselves. And oligarchy is a small group of people having control of it. Yeah. It's like the elites having all the control. I thought it was money based, but that makes sense. Yeah, oligarchy. It's the oligarchy. I remember he'd say that.
We are demanding. We are telling you what to doing. We are in a charging, not a panicking. We brought you in. Populism is happening all over the world, 1776 worldwide. And I said, many times they would say, you're a panicking. You're a fake Trump supporter. I'm like, listen, I'm not Make America Great Again, bitch. I supported that idea and that movement. I am 1776 against the tyrants. I am revolution against tyranny. I am freedom here and worldwide. I am America, all right? And I've been on there 31 years, and we are credited by the sociologists and the mainstream Democrats in the textbooks, that's why they hate me, Ron Paul and Alex Jones, our listeners and viewers, we were just focal point, went in and took over Dick Armey's Tea Party in the late 90s, okay? It happened. We took it over. A third of the people at Trump's event there in Cleveland when he got the nomination in 2016 were wearing my shirts. The media saw it. They finally freaked out. They finally recognized, oh my God, this is powerful and grassroots. Then they came after me. The knives came out. Just like they finally figured out, oh, we can't just call Nick, you know, Hitler or a gay kid. That doesn't work, so now let's destroy him. They went, whoa. When they went there and had airplanes flying around with Hillary's a rapist and, you know, big vans with TVs flashing it and a third of the people, 100,000 people wearing my shirt, they went into war mode because they were still so arrogant up in their towers, some of the Democrats. So the fight is about taking control of the Republican Party, keeping control of the Republican Party. And that's what I'm saying is, I was never Make America Great Again. We helped create the launch pad for it, and I want to make America great again, but I want to make America free again. I want to stop the globalist tyranny. I want 1776 worldwide, which is happening. And so MAGA is some little thing. It's not like I'm some guy in junior high that wants to be in the cool kid class and I run for school president and I'm kissing everybody's ass and going to Toastmasters so I know how to properly fold a napkin. I'm here to wreck the globalist. I'm here to deliver war on their ass with the truth. I am here to overturn them. I am here to politically, nonviolently burn them down. And so I get where you're coming from, Nick, to be pro-Trump, get in the system, have them persecute you, kick you out because you wouldn't submit to Israel worship. To me, it's the same thing. You try to make me engage in Trump worship, it triggers me. I just want to be careful that I don't get too emotional over that and then not continue, because some Trump supporters are more sophisticated than Democrats, but Trump's not a cult, but they want to be in a cult. I want to nicely try to explain to them so they don't, you know, get mad, because they think anything coming out of the administration came out of Trump and 55 trillion D beyond God chess, okay? All right, I mean, they could, you know, get in the toilet when Trump takes a shit and read the entrails, you know, like tea leaves to see the future.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
they worship Trump's shit. So my deal is, I know the real world, and I know.
That's a wild statement
here's what
right
I meant to say. You say it so quick like you do, but here's the key. They didn't have all those bots ready day one to attack us all with talking points and a massive conservative and corporate media attack because we're weak. It's because we're strong, all of us, the people watching. And they had to come in there and do that because they're scared of Trump's base. So all I'm saying is don't give up to everybody. Don't walk away. Be critical, support what's good, and also be very vocal on what's wrong, because that's what the globalists, I mean, the whole BlackRock, Pentagon, Israel, the whole blob wants that. And I'm just saying, support the areas of good things we're getting, support the good members of the administration, but at the same time, then hold Trump's feet to the fire, and that means his administrators. I mean, I've got Kyle Seraphin on. Every week he lists FBI agents that are deep staters, they fire them. But Patel knew all that. And the fact is, we have to do that. You think I want to sit here every week and target high-level FBI deputy directors and people? No, but you think I want to fly airplanes around the country saying Bill Clinton's a rapist and, you know, pay listeners $10,000 a piece if they got on public TV and called him that? We paid out $500,000. You want to run him on a hit list? So to anybody out there, and I don't need to say all this, but, you know, Nick, I'm watching Nick. He's inspired me to actually talk about bona fides, because Nick's got a lot of bona fides. Means things he's done. You know, notches on the gun belt. Guys, the idea that I'm CIA or I work for the establishment, holy hell, all I do is wreck it. And I'm a testimony with me and my crew and my family that we've gone through this together. And that's why I know there are real people like Nick. I know there are real people like you. Like I said to Nick a few months ago, he agreed. The devil's biggest trick isn't that he doesn't exist. That's the second biggest. It's that good doesn't exist. You know you're good. So for the mentally ill Q people that think I'm a clone, or the left that thinks I'm really a Nazi, no, guys, you're the ones that are bad. We're the ones that are grassroots. We're the ones that brought the receipts. Nick's already got a 10-year record himself. I can't imagine what it's like when he's 50. So this is a magic moment right now, and 100%, we have the power. We need to use it. Nick, closing statement. Anything else you want to have?
Absolutely. I agree. And I think it is about fundamentally, and I think you said it so beautifully, there has to be on some level a decoupling. It's no longer MAGA. It is 1776. It's America first. We need to assert our interest first. It's not about Trump. It's not about this administration. It's about this country. It's about America first. So I think people should keep speaking up, and I think they should keep their options open and not be beholden to a politician, even one that you like, even one you agree with. We need to keep our options open and keep our eyes focused on the prize. So those are my closing thoughts, but it's been great to be with you. Great debate, great conversation. Always is. I know you're not a clone. I've met you. Same guy, not cloned, not anybody, no weird stuff going on.
Nick, as you did a quick closing statement, you always quantify it quickly. We're not selling our birthright to Trump and his family in some dynasty. We're not in a cult, and we're not setting up some new aristocracy or some new royal line. No, we're 1776. We're Americans. If somebody supports that and it's good, we'll defend them. But again, this idea they've tried to sell the Republican Party of now Trump's gone through all this, he's the royalty, don't question, that's a damn cult.
That's a wild one.
Yes, I'm moving to Iowa. I think that, you know, you always ask me, what's the play? What's the next move? I think the next 3 years, to be honest with you, are cooked. And I know you're in it to win it. I know you're pushing Trump, and I know you know people in the administration. But you know what I think about? I think about how Mark Levin had lunch with Trump a week before the war in Iran. I think about how Laura Loomer enjoys like unlimited access to the president. Darren Beattie has a job at the State Department. Darren Beattie runs Revolver. Why does Alex Jones not get invited to have lunch with the president? I'm sure you probably could if you push for it. And I know you know people in the White House, but it's like the real patriots don't have a seat at the table like the neocons do. Susie Wiles and these other people that are inside the administration, they weren't loyal to Trump throughout. You know, Trump's campaign manager on January 6th was saying, you know, this guy needs to be put in jail. For what it's worth, Tucker had his text messages published and said, I hate Trump. I can't wait until he's gone. Why is it that people that are disloyal have access, but the people that were loyal and are loyal to the movement have no access and seem to have very little influence over the president? So for me, it's like, if I don't have a seat at the table, I'm going to flip the table over. And if you don't want that, then give me a seat at the damn table.
Well,
and I feel like the next...
absolutely. Freedom is not given. It's demanded and forced. And so it's an important discussion, important debate. I agree about 9% what you said, but it's all been eloquently stated. And just to be clear, I have been invited to Mar-a-Lago. I have been invited to the White House. And when it happens, I just go, oh, sure. And then I don't actually do it. And it's not that I'm a wimp, but they still got moles in there and everything. I can do everything on the outside way better than politics. And going and having dinner with Trump and 10 other people and being patted on the head, what happens is, as soon as that happens, and again, I'll tell the truth on air, and whatever happens, happens. But for some reason, that triggers them so bad, the deep state, when it's like putting kryptonite next to a nuclear weapon or whatever, or two kryptonites together, they just go crazy. So I have been, and they tried to spin it that I was offered to be bribed, and I guess I was, too simplistic about it. No, when I was criticizing, Trump on the Epstein thing, I got White House calls saying, we think you're right. We don't know why he's doing this. There's no evidence. He gets really mad. What do you want? I mean, like, what do you want us to do? It wasn't like, oh, we'll give you a bag of money. It was like, what do you want? What do you think we should do? But it was also like, what do you want? You want, so a little bit of that, but not like, oh, there's a bag of money here. But nobody offered me bribe me. That's what they do. But that's what most people do, is they're there just to get a job. They're to do that. No, I want to build my own thing. That's what freedom is all about. Are you doing your stream tonight, Nick?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be going live in a couple of hours.
But you never give people the time. So what time is it tonight?
He never gives people the time.
I'm feeling 9:30. Feeling 9:30 Central tonight.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get ready for that in less than an hour and a half, or I guess that's 2 hours, 25 minutes. All right. Nick J. Fuentes on Rumble.
All right. So we got Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes.
Let me do something real quick. Let me view my own channel. I'm going to play something real quick, and I'm going to be right back, and I will figure out what I'm going to do from there. But I want to play my music video real quick so I can get this figured out. Be right back.
How you really feel watching me on my grind, baby? How you really drill hazy with the pop light? How you really feel? Waste away as time flies. How you really try? as I roll slow. Catch me as I whippin' in the foreign as I smoke drill. Yeah, you people don't know. Pleasure pour on my soul. Show to keep me breathing, so I flex it on my old hoes, yeah. Ring, ring, I call up, glad to see my name. Pick up, you wake up to hang out with fame. First to the Molly, then next is the cane. Down with the pregame, then switch up the Zanes, yeah. Money on eyes, word up nice, shining so nice, best in my life, yeah. Money on eyes, word up nice, shining so nice, best in my life, yeah. How you really feel? Watching me on my grind, babe. How you really drill? Hazy with the pop light, yeah. How you really feel? Waste away as time flies, How you really drill? Tell me how I don't shine.
All right, guys. So I will end it early tonight. Life is lifing right now, but I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna go over Resident Evil's dissert with the I think the Dystopia novel, I think it was, or some type of excerpt about that with the media and all that stuff. So I'm excited to do that. I was gonna do that afterwards, but we'll just save it for tomorrow. Becca, I hope to see you then. I hope to see Connie as well on YouTube chat. And yeah, Resident Evil, we'll get that popping tomorrow for sure. Go ahead and send it on the Discord, and we'll pick it up from there. But yeah, you guys have a great night. I will be back on tomorrow, if 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m.-ish. Like, I'll say it on the Discord too when I'm actually going to go on. But yeah, I'll try to be here. I appreciate you. But I'll put it on the Discord when I'm actually going to go on. I'll put it in the general chat. All right, guys. You have a great night. And yeah, stay up. Peace.